Stationeers. That means your own personal, deeply simulated planetary survival space station. Where the atmosphere in the base and in your spacesuit consists of a mixture of gases that you have to keep under control. With temperature and pressure and even phase change simulation and evaporation cooling and condensation heating. And with a very complex interface. And all this in a beautifully realized planetary environment. Automation is not necessary, but obviously a good idea. These solar panels not only follow the sun, but once the day is over, they will automatically readjust to expect the sun in the right position in the morning. A complex task like that can of course be achieved with logic chips, but that would become very complicated. So it has been implemented in assembly. After all, Stationeers comes with its own programming language and source code editor. So that you can lean back and enjoy the kilowatts rolling in. And today we will be dealing with exactly that. In our nice brand new Europa station that we made in the previous 2 episodes. Between the previous video and this one, I have been out mining, so that this is a bit less tedious. Lots of copper, made some steel, found some gold, so we're good to go. Do I have the IC housing? I also planted a few racks here and also made the counterflow heat exchanger to cool the room that I was talking about in the previous episode. We have the computer, the motherboard, the housing is missing. Didn't make that yet. Okay then. Need steel, need copper. Copper we have. Steel, we do. Lots of steel, so let's be lavish with it.
Temperature high. Temperature high. Temperature low.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you can't click that door when you're holding that thing. Oh, I thought I had set this to 100. The IC housing isn't even strictly required because, like I told you in the previous video, here we have our atmospherics devices. I mean, this kit has multiple and all of them have a chip slot, so I could just have used this one. I think we should work on the cooling system first, because that is a problem, isn't it? So where will we do that? I need a place for the counterflow heat exchanger. Everything is cramped here already. Yes, some room. Well, let's use that then. The counterflow heat exchanger is basically just a thing that connects 2 pipes when it comes to thermal energy. So their thermal energy will be exchanged. Again, stuff is in the way. What is it with this station? Always something in the way. Remember the previous episode? I mean, close before the end, everything was still so cramped, everything. And then I finally got to open this up. this new section here. What do we need? Steel sheets. Do we have steel sheets?
Temperature high.
Oh my god. How are we supposed to plant anything in this environment? No steel sheets? Uh-huh. No steel. Does this thing have steel? Yeah. Okay. Sheets.
Temperature high.
My god. It's Europa, minus 140 degrees Celsius. But it's too hot.
Temperature critical.
Oh, which reminds me, why don't I replace that welder with a proper one? Because we need steel, electrum, invar and solder, all of which we have. Where would I put this? This welder has an upside. It excretes some atmosphere, so if you need to melt some gases that you ice balls that you want to drop to the ground in a 1x1 chamber, like a chamber like this one, consisting of these metal boxes, so that they hold some pressure, then you can just toss down one of these containers, open them, and
Temperature high.
and fill them with the melting gases. That's a possibility in a pinch. Okay, so we need to pipe something in from the outside. This is output, input, and here would be the input from the gases from the outside. Now I would need some insulated pipes. Instead of wasting all those materials to insulate them after the fact, I will just make some insulated pipes. Well, but the upside of the arc welder, which cannot things alight, is that that it doesn't excrete anything that can pollute the station. So I want that. Give me that. Electrum. Is that all we have? Do I have to make more electrum again? Oh my god.
Temperature high. Temperature low.
Soon this will not be a problem. So what else? Invar, solder. Whoops. Do we have some solder in here? Yeah, but not too much, so let's use that blunder. And then we need some... Wait, where did I toss that? Did I toss that in here? I did. Stupid. Invar. Not easy to make. Okay, this is a pipe upwards. Then I will place an active vent out there, which I will have to control with logic. That we don't have yet.
Temperature high.
Yeah, it's hot in here. Is it me or is it hot in here?
Temperature low.
Yeah, something. and a passive vent here. This is the output, so we will be sucking in here and pump out there. And then when we do the same here on this side, we will have an extremely strong cooling effect. Extremely. For that we need the devices. Do we have some here? Probably not. I should put up some lights. I have lights. Where would that be most useful? Let's start over here. How do I get energy up there? Oh, that looks good. Better than nothing. Temperature high, yeah.
Temperature high.
So let's make 2 active vents. And a passive vent for the indoors, and an insulated passive vent for the outdoors, because else it bleeds thermal energy through the wall. Of course I could use insulated passive vents everywhere, but obviously you don't want to waste resources, and rather use your knowledge as to what you need and what you don't. Some iron, good thing we have iron here. This is irritating. I called this thing 100. Yeah, one thing that's quite annoying about Stationeers, while I love those developers and I have hopefully said enough about them in regards to how far they are going to pull this thing off the ground, I must say some decisions they make are questionable. I mean, the prioritization, the interface that you deal with all the time, that needs to be done first, because that's the annoyances. That's the hurdles that you have to get over. That's something that's in your face the whole time. Anyway. Oh, what's that? My new welder. Let's make 2 large batteries.
Temperature high.
And that too, yeah. Temperature low.
Temperature low. Temperature critical.
Why 2? Because I need 1. Huh? What? Well, over time I want to replace all of them with large ones. And so I want to gradually do that, even when it's not absolutely necessary. Come on. Yeah, mining was fun. You didn't see that because you didn't yet see the fast mining drill in action. Oh, poor you. Yes, I think I didn't have a second station battery yet the previous time, or did I? Yeah, I probably did. Yeah, I've forgotten.
Air tank low.
Oh, that also. Why is the tank even being emptied? We're in the indoors. We don't need that.
Air tank critical.
So the cooling solution. Here I will place a passive vent, which can be placed directly adjacent. This one cannot be placed directly adjacent, even though it claims that it can. This is a lie. This is one long-standing bug that they also haven't yet decided to fix. I'm not railing against them. I love them. They are awesome. They are stellar, and pulling this stuff off, really extreme. But I must criticize things that require critique. That's what it is. We have the insulated one. This will pump in from the indoors, and this will come out to the indoors, much cooler. Let's go outside and do the other things. Yeah, while you can kind of reach through walls and do some stuff in a cheesy way, placing these things in the right orientation is impossible from the other side of the wall, and so yeah, let's go outside. Insulated passive vent. Active vent. Hey, what am I doing? Oh. Oh yeah, okay, the airstream from the inside is pushing me away. I can, though, increase the thrust of my jetpack, which will eventually then hold me in place if it's high enough, but this will then waste jetpack fuel. What is my jetpack fuel anyway?
Critical.
Oh, it's just gas. I could use fuel gas if I was so inclined. Or here on this planet, on this moon, of course it makes sense to use oxygen, because we have that in abundance. And also, when I use that in the indoors, like when I use my jetpack here, I will just excrete a harmless gas. Alrighty, so here we have that set up and
Waste tank caution.
this set up, and I have to open my waste tank again. Wait, do I? No, I don't. I have some extra canisters here. This one's empty, and I kept... This must be the third one, I think. The second one, okay. With valuable CO2 that we would have to produce otherwise, or for example with a furnace.
Temperature high.
Again? Man, it's really a hot topic to get that problem with the temperature under control, right? So now we have a strong motivation, just like we had in the previous video, a strong motivation to... I mean, I want to repeat, in many base building games, you don't have this kind of experience. There you would just plop down some box and that would be a new area in which you can then live. But here you have to create that yourself. For example, when I created this extra section here, I had to make sure that that this will not cool down the main station too much. Though I also had to make some steel, and so I just opened up the wall when I was far enough to smelt all that stuff. But things were accumulating, tasks that would fit well together, like puzzle pieces, and so I kept going and kept going. That was near the end of the previous video of episode 2, until finally everything fit, and then I unfolded this puzzle and everything happened, and so we were looking forward to the simple task of just taking down a wall and starting to utilize this extra section here. The experience depth in this game is brilliant. Look, I mean, an onlooker might not think so, but what can I say? You have to be in there. Isn't that like with all things, when you do them yourself, when you're in there with your mind, when you're in the flow, then that's fun. And someone on the outside might think, dude, you're collecting stamps? Are you fucking crazy? No, you're not fucking crazy. You're doing something that you like, and that no one should have to object to, because it's harmless. So you do you. It's your fucking life. So that's wired up. Now we need some power here. I will also have some lights back there, so let's utilize that situation. What's happening? I have heavy breathing going on. This might be...
Temperature high.
I think our lungs have taken too much damage. That may be the case. And it may be that we will soon go unconscious because our lungs cannot convert enough oxygen. The oxygen intake is just too low. That may be the case. Good thing I have one pill. It would really be...
Cognition low.
Oh my god, I have to take the pill. Oh no, the helmet is closed. Oh. Oh, good thing I stopped myself in time. The pill is valuable. And I remember playing Europa in my Europa playthrough series, which is pretty awesome regarding some things that happen and some constructions that I made. And I was in just this situation. And then I took the pill and it didn't help and I went unconscious and I'm like, no! My first death, completely unnecessary as it turned out, because I had just forgotten to turn on the filters and such. And since there was still so much oxygen in my suit, it didn't realize I just had forgotten that the helmet was still closed. Eventually though, the simulation reality caught up with me. But this time I saw it. Okay. Power. We need power. What good is an active vent out there that we can't control? You know, they have these switches and I need to be able to turn that on and off.
Temperature high.
When it's getting hot in here, you know? So let's take a little survey. Temperature 27, 28, 31, 35, 35, 34, 33, 34. This door, well, no, not this door. I wanted to open this door automatically for heat purposes, but I will just do that in the future if there's overpressure, if the station has too high pressure, because that's also something you have to keep in mind. I mean, over time you might just forget you have maybe taken in oxygen from the outside somehow, and you have opened your waste canister in here, and the oxygen that you were breathing in was coming from the outside, was heated up, whatever the source was, whatever the reason was. And the pressure might be too high, and then you don't realize that, and the station suffers, and you will hear some sounds sometimes, and then you will realize that in time, maybe, but then I have to repair everything, and it's better if the computer detects that we will program, and it will open the door for a short moment, and that's better than anything exploding, I would say. While I see this, as one of our first programming tasks, this can't be done, crap. Oh, I managed to make it exactly like a zip file again. Everything is perfectly packed and you cannot squeeze any more sentences in. Everything has already been encoded. Annoying! Okay, let's go this way then. Now that logic is connected, we can alter the setting value of this thing so that it doesn't waste 1000 watts for a while to heat up the ice to 15 degrees, but instead we'll just crush that right into this thing directly. Oh, maybe we want to depollute the atmosphere. And take a sip while we're at it. Ah.
Temperature high.
Yeah, in easy mode you can even drink and eat through the helmet. In normal mode and in stationeer mode you cannot. So you should, you know, it's not realistic. Don't do it. Do not. It's the law. Another battery, another light. Iron. Of all the things. Is it hot again? I'm curious how the lockers will be lit by this. Okay, it's pretty clear. This one will be lit, that one will not so much be lit. Oh, what's that? The best sound in the universe, made possible by our nice scrubber. The sound of life that you can take into your body. Oh, we have more cables, nice. Well, what good is all of this if we can't program our 50 degrees again?
Temperature high.
Our devices, we need a computer. So let's use a computer. And where will we place that dude? There's some room here still. And I mean, it wouldn't be in the way. I mean, why not? If it's not in the way here, then why not do this? Yep, okay. The computer will be used to program the, to write the program. People usually say, why don't you use a laptop? Because the laptop has a downside. While you can just take the laptop anywhere, just drop it down here from my inventory and stick the chip in and program, the downside is that I have to stick the chip in. This one will just have contact directly with all the programmable devices, for example this one. I mean, there's no chip in there, but it will still list this device. If there's a chip in there, I can even program it then. And this makes it easier for us to tamper with the things here. It will be less cumbersome. So here's our chip housing. It has an input and an output, or no, two inputs rather, two connectors. It needs power, and it needs to control the station with logic. Where's the cable? Yeah. Retrace your steps, that's usually where it is. So that's cabled up, and now we're basically suddenly omnipotent. Wanna know what that feels like? So, we go here. Computer's running, now it has the IC programming motherboard. We put this chip in, we turn the thing on, and now the station is running the program and everything will happen according to our whims. For example, this dude, do we have still something to smelt? No, we don't. Too bad, I was a bit too eager, so we don't have an example yet. However, these chips here, they are no longer necessary. So I will just remove them. So the nice thing that we constructed there, it was for naught. Well, you learned something.
Power low. Temperature high.
Yeah, the last smelty I did with the furnace had a lot of pressure, so there's a lot of mass in there that has high temperature, therefore the amount of thermal energy therein is high, of course. Even if it's not very hot, it is still a lot of that heat. It's not just, it's not just a measure of how hot it is, it's also a measure of how much there is. For example, the fusion reactor experiments going on Earth right now, they deal in part with gases that have millions of degrees, but it's very, very thin atmosphere that we're talking about. So it's very little thermal energy that we're talking about. It's not, it's not like a hot plate having 1,000,000 degrees, because I mean that would probably have more energy than the entire reactor and the network that heats it up. That drives it. So this thing is now automated. No, it's not. Shall we automate it then? Okay. So that was the logic chips. Did it work? Didn't. Maybe I made a mistake. Let's see what the arc furnace's name is. Structure arc furnace. What did I do wrong then? Oh, I exported the source code to the filtration unit. where there is no chip. And that's what you really have to consider. This drop down here doesn't necessarily keep its current selection. When you change cabling in here, you should always check that. So still not. What's the mistake then? Oh yeah, I misspelled. That's the mistake. So now, every game tick this program is being run. It would be run only once when I export or when I put the chip into the housing. It would run from the top, and then that would be the end of it. But I used the jump statement, and so I jumped up here to the marker. I could also have said jump 3, but obviously that's unwise if the program changes, if I press enter a few times and such. But this is stable because, you know, it refers to the start marker. The yield statement is an inherent thing to the game simulation, but I mean, see, this is after all a game. It is running a simulation, it's doing lots of things, and now it's supposed to also run your programs at light speed. Are you serious? Are you fucking kidding me? It won't. It will run this at light speed for like 128 lines, and then, or less, I don't know, statements. Empty lines probably don't count. And then it will take a break, a short break, and then it will continue running your code so that it can take a breather, you know? And you can say, I yield simulation. Stationeers simulation, listen up, I am yielding. The simulation listens up and says, okay, you have gotten your break already, so I will not force one, because you have your break already. And that's kind of even how it works in the real world. I mean, not with the yield, not with a voluntary yield, but if you write a program in the real world that has an infinite loop, which does make sense sometimes, then you would certainly want to not, like, this is how I phrase it normally, burn the processor. It's a metaphor, nothing bad's happening really, but why would you run that thing at this and this many watts when it's not necessary? Just put sleep, in Java for example, you would say thread sleep, let's say 50 milliseconds, and then this would be a lot less load. Even 1 millisecond would do it, because the difference between waiting 1 millisecond or running your program at basically maximum processor speed is ginormous. Anyway, so we have our main loop here, then we have our we don't want to burn the processor statement, and then we're saying arc furnace activate, and that is why that thing is being activated again and again and again.
Temperature high.
I will probably talk about that more, because I'm so in love with programming that I will forget for a moment that I was trying to lure you into the game. Like, look how awesome this is, look at all the things that you're doing. Yeah, whatever, forgive me. But, well, we have to solve the problem with the heat. So, do we have a gas sensor that we can use to measure the temperature indoors? Yeah, of course we have one. This one. However, when I'm out there mining, this will be separated from the station, and so the station will just keep heating up, and our plants will not like that. So we do need a gas sensor in here. Also, the placement of the gas sensor over there, I don't know if it is ideal, I cannot tell. Anyway, where would I place this gas sensor to measure the temperature and then to cool down the station? Oh, by the way, this dude consumes 200 watts. When we don't need it, we turn it off. Would we place it directly at the furnace? No, that wouldn't make sense, because the rest of the station might be at like 20 degrees, and over here we might have like 40 degrees streaming and spreading out into the station, and then the door would, or the cooling would kick in to cool down until that spot over there would no longer have 40 degrees, but maybe 20 or whatever we program. So that would be stupid. We would have to measure in a spot that is balanced. Let's say we would measure in this far corner here. So over here the temperature rises to like 30 degrees and we say no, it's time to cool this down. But here we would already be like 40 degrees and over here maybe 50 degrees. It would make sense to place this dude in some kind of balanced spot and Right here would also not be fine, because here the cold air will come in and has to spread out. So then we would be measuring, oh, everything is fine already. We turn it off. It spreads out. It's too hot again. And on and off and on and off. That's not a problem, but it's inelegant, obviously. And so this would not be the best spot to place it. I would suggest we place it here. This is probably not too bad. Daylight sensor, proximity sensor, measuring whether someone is in the set distance. Occupancy sensor, whether someone is in the room. Gas sensor, what we need now. Motion sensor, whether something is in the current world box, where that thing is. Kind of like the occupancy sensor, right? But only kind of. Gas sensor. Now, before I explain to you what's really happening here, let me just give the things a few names. What I'm trying to do...
Temperature high.
I am trying to cool down the station. Dude, that again.
Temperature critical. Temperature low.
Yeah, whatever. Temperature. It is temperature. I have gotten the message. So, will I call this thing sense indoor? Or will I call it cooling sensor? It depends on what I want to use it for. I would say sense indoor is good, because I could also use that to measure whether there's pollutant in here. And then possibly use some cleaning agent or call the, I don't know, the cleaning lady. Sense indoor. And then what about these dudes? This would be cooling vent outer. Cooling vent outer. This will be cooling vent inner. And of course, you guessed it, we will use those names in our programming. There's lots to be said about that, but I will be straight on target here first. Because once I leave this editor session, we might already have our working station cooling. Define. I will explain that later, I guess. Class vent hash structure active vent. Define ins vent in hash cooling vent inner, I think was the name. Define, yeah, now we can. Sense indoor is also something we have. Ins vent out is the outer one. Now the gas sensor, define class sense gas. There are different kinds of sensors after all, so structure gas sensor. Define instance sensor, because there could be many gas sensors in here, but I mean the one with this name. Instance gas in hash. Now I will load the Kelvin degrees value from that sensor into a register. Class sense gas, instance gas in. What I want is the temperature. Since I'm using a batch reader command, I will use the sum, or whatever average would also float my boat. It doesn't matter. Now I like to think in Celsius, so let's just subtract from R0 to the Kelvin scale value 273.15. I'm subtracting this from R0, and once that has been calculated, the result will be written into a register, which happens to be the same, because why should I use another one? I don't need the temperature in Kelvin at all. Now I have the temperature in Celsius. Now I want to know, is that temperature too hot? So if the temperature in register R0 is greater than 25, is greater than GT 25, and I mean, if you look here, you get lots of all the commands, all the statements that the language can has, and they are, you know, there are statements like what is this shit? And there are statements like this one where I write a logic value into a register. The logic evaluation result of this will either be true or not true. True is 1, false is 0. So that will be in register R0 then. This, or I can also branch. I can also branch relatively and so forth, also with greater than. But there's not just greater than, there's also less than. There's greater than or evil, and so forth. Evil? Greater than or equal. That was funny, wasn't it? Maybe it was for you. Anyway, so there are multiple variants of these commands, and so it's not really that many, ultimately. Now that I have this value, I will explain that further. I'm still, a bit fast, I know. So let's initialize the vents. I want to write to the outer vent. I want to write that it shall suck, and I want to do the same to the inner vent. And whether or not they shall actually pump, that is an information we have already derived. And so yeah, maybe that was actually all we need for our cooling solution. I don't know, I mean, there are often some programming mistakes, but let's see. Export, does it show any error? No, it doesn't. Oh, I just heard something. Did I? No. So what temperature do we have in here? Is 16 degrees, rising. I mean, we can foreseeably say the temperature will keep increasing. And once we reach 25 degrees, this dude should kick in, and so should that other dude. And they should suck this one from this atmosphere, that one from the outer atmosphere, and they should then meet in the middle without actually mixing in an intense way, because that's what the counterflow heat exchanger does. And then, well, the outer gas that was pumped in here will then come out here again, slightly warmer. It might seem like a waste to suck that from the same world box, because that's probably what's happening here, but we're talking about minus 140 degrees, so I mean, who cares? And the gas that comes out here will then have cooled. What does the temperature say? The temperature says we will now see whether my programming was correct. It was not. What might the mistake be? First question, of course, is, have I addressed this? Aha, this one, I can only turn it, I mean, it will turn back, it will turn itself back. Sense indoor, sense outdoor. So that thing is actually being controlled by our programming here. But it is not turning on. Why not? I mean, this part here is effective, we have seen that. This part, I mean. This part probably then also, but let's ignore that. I mean, the inner one is not kicking in, what's going on? Since I copied this line down here and only changed weather on and so forth, yeah. Maybe the sense indoor, sense gas in. Why doesn't this work? What's my mistake? Oh, I think I have an idea what the mistake is. A very stupid mistake, actually. This cable network here goes here, and this is where our inner cable network starts. These lights here are running directly from the battery instead of using the inner cable network, and the gas sensor also, so it cannot be seen by the computer, and so the computer constantly reads like 0 Kelvin, so that doesn't help at all. So I have to get some cable up there. How do we do this? This, it seems like a nice place. We have some cable here already. Let's use this then. Meanwhile, the temperature has reached 36 degrees already. I must now not cross the streams, Ghostbusters style, because that would be bad. Now behold. Temperature is nosediving, at least in this spot. Let's go into different places. 37 degrees, 36 degrees. Well, it's at least cooling down, but will it stop cooling down once things are cool enough? It's already 18 degrees over here, but here it's 23, and here it is 29. Yeah, the furnace is of course constantly heating. Over here we have 19. Yeah, we have a cooling solution. That problem with the heat is over, and that is what it took. I mean, you saw how fast that was, and now it's automatic. And I mean, have you seen that? What we have here is completely custom. I mean, what I use the heat exchanger for is my choice. I can, for example, use the furnace to heat something. I pipe the furnace gas through this, and the atmosphere of the room through that, and that is how I could heat this then, if the furnace were outside or whatever. Or some completely different assembly. I mean, how I use these parts is completely my choice. This is emergent gameplay. When things are modular, when things are established on a high abstraction level. Should I talk about abstraction a bit again? Okay, maybe not now. I mean, let's not do that right now. Hey, maybe we want to know how full the station batteries are. I mean, we can see that right here, but once I've added some more station batteries, and nothing exploded. Why? Because what I'm doing here is I'm connecting the logic output, not this output, with my indoor cable network. So now I can read those batteries. It could also be crazy and turn them off, for example. Let's do that for fun. Write batch hash, structure battery on 0. And Shazam, no more power. I can now not turn them on. And this one is being discharged. The whole station is now running on this little battery here. You can see that it takes quite some toll on it. The computer, the computer and all the lights. Let's turn those batteries on again. And this line, we should keep that in here. Why? Because once I put up some more station batteries, I could place them directly adjacent. And directly adjacent means I cannot reach that switch. And now I don't have to. I just have to cable them up. So I have been rushing through that somewhat, because I mean still I would like to show you all the things that can be done, the fun that you can have in here. We have a cooling solution, no more sweating to death. Is the placement of the gas sensor fine though? I mean, here we have 23 degrees, we have 26. 26 is fine. And here we have 22. Yeah, we have a good balance here. I mean, who cares about a few degrees? Which means that now we have a stable temperature in here. So we don't have to emergency cool again with this dude. Which means that we can now make sure that we have enough CO2 in here for our plants. So I will turn this dude on, which will pump into the station very hot gas, which you can tell by the fact that this kicked in and will stay on. But see, it's not pumping the air of the station away. It's just pumping through that thing and comes out here again. So the CO2 that we're pumping in here, which is very hot, is just being cooled down by the planetary atmosphere, but it's not mixed, we are not losing it. Now we already have 3% CO2, and what we need for our plants to grow in the simulation is 1%. — 1,400 watts coming in from our wind turbines. Nice. Wind, I love ya. Oh, it's rather hot in here. I want to verify something.
Temperature high.
how warm is it out there where the exhaust gas from our cooling system comes? -129 degrees minus, while over here is minus 150. Okay. So this also means that I'm sucking that very gas back in, which is not good for our cooling, but when do you really need this level of cooling? It's strong enough for the purposes. Oh, it's very hot in here, man. Let's turn that off. See, it keeps running, we'll cool down the station, and we will be fine. Yep, and this thing is also on, else we wouldn't get any cooling effect. Let's look here. We can see here the input amount on both sides. Input 1 is on the indoor. The upper one is output 2 and input 2. The lower one is input 1. Why does the lower one have a greater mole throughput, like the amount of molecules of gas that are being pumped through there? Because the pressure in here is higher. Out there we have very low pressure. That would be the reason, I'd say. And what we see here is that the heat exchange rate from pipe 1 to pipe 2 is well, actually, what am I saying? If it is a positive number, it means then heat is being bled away. I think the heat exchange rate that we just saw there, the negative value, is a bug. I will take a screenshot and bring that up in the forum, because it should be positive. Because in here, wait, in here it's getting, wait, it depends. I will just ask. Let's see what they think. But now 60 degrees have cooled down and we can relax. The problem is solved. Batteries are now always turned on. If I place some more here, let's print some more. We got the resources. I want 2 more batteries. Thank you. Battery, no, not large, the normal ones. I don't have the resources yet for the large ones. We can make 2 regarding gold, regarding copper, regarding steel. I would even have to stop this dude, okay. And this is annoying, isn't it? Well, let's change it then. Since I will now be accessing the arc furnace a bit more extensive, I will reserve that word, I will store that value up here. Whether I want to activate that depends on what R0 says. And what R0 shall be load batch into R0 from a slot, yeah. And that's that. Oh, I made a mistake. What are you saying? Error incorrect argument count at line 13. Yes, it was a batch reading statement, so I have to tell it what to do with all those potential values. Yeah, and you are just observing something else. This thing was now kicking in and was cooling for longer than we're used to. Why? Because while this thing had an error, the program was not running, the cooling was not running. The station would be fucked. So that's something you want to keep in mind when you make your calculation, your processing IT centers, you know? Since we have achieved so much already, I would like to decorate this a bit before I go a bit further into the programming stuffs. Oh. Good thing I'm making batteries. And good thing I now have the arc welder. Where is the... what am I looking for? Iron sheets. Heavy cable. Can we do that from here? No clue. I mean, the station battery is currently not yet being charged because it is not turned on, for which we have to connect it to the logic network that we have here. Now it's being charged. You can see that because it's blinking. Put the next one up, so we're harvesting a bit of storm. Nice. Right, not steel sheets, but iron sheets. Ah, maybe I should have done that before. Alrighty. Let's just not use the jetpack and let's not jump. For that would not be good. What's coming in right now? Apart from myself? 6,400 watts. Ah, the storm is over. Okay, but yeah, we harvested something into the extra battery, so the effort was not futile. Oh, it's still going on. I don't know, I was acoustically mistaken. Good, I like that. And Shazam. And now we're not yet using that electricity, but it is being stored. And that's what matters first. You should actually be using heavy cables here after the battery, but we're still at the beginning. We have enough time to fix all those problems. This is still the beginning of the game? Yeah, dude, have you seen those stations that some other people have built? You have not? Huh. That explains then why you asked something that stupid. As punishment, my cables are gone. Okay, now we have 4 station batteries that are being charged and that are also available to give the electricity to our station. 4 station batteries. Suddenly we have doubled our battery capacity. So yeah, we're fine. Enough resources. Now let's beautify the place a bit. Want to pick a color? What color should it be, huh? The ground? I mean, I prefer black because it has a nice shiny effect, but... Blue, brown, green, gray. That would be ironic to make it gray. You know what? I want to make it gray. Because it's so ridiculous to make it gray when it has been gray this whole time. Just so that we can see the difference between this construction site look and, you know, they're using the British English, which I'm not a fan of, but alright. So now I could be placing these and spray every tile individually, but obviously it's better for our bottle filler and for our resources if I just spray paint the entire stack.
Power critical.
Yeah. So, let's put that stack of cables away. It's great to finally have this many, this space here. I mean, this is really, the tool belt Mark II makes so much of a difference. Well, let's make it beautiful then, and since we now have so many large batteries, we won't have to keep this dude open any longer, for we will no longer have to reach into it to do a quick battery swap. I mean, sometimes maybe if there's an emergency situation, and then I will actually have to get out the crowbar, but normally we don't, no. So let's put some wall on the wall. And complete it, and there's our floor. So what if we have to get to the cables? Well, it will be a bit tricky, and sometimes you actually have to dismantle the stuff then, again, that I have just put up. And yeah, that sucks, but that's the way it is. Should cable that up. Never had a grey floor in one of my stations. Maybe there was good reason for that, but whatever. But this does look better, doesn't it? No, will the sun boot up? Yeah. It's like a diesel engine. Flicker, flicker, what? See, this whole thing with the planetary landscape, or rather with the sky, with planets that drift and the orbiting and the sun and the eclipses, is very young. It came in December 2023. So, and then there were some bugs that had to be ironed out that took months. Yeah. So no wonder some things are still a bit iffy in that regard. But we're getting there. Now what do we do here? Well, if you were watching the entire series like you're supposed to, though I do not actually realistically expect, then you will know that we can use the kit door here. If we have copper, that is. Do we have copper? I wonder. Wait, where? Yeah, here. Remember the beginning when we were mining for every little fart that we were trying to produce? And now it's just like, yeah, toss in 100, forget it. Oh, I need this, okay, make this. Oh, I need that, just make it. But see, that we had to do that on foot from the start, that makes it so valuable that we have this now. Also, this is emergent. It is not fake that it is like this. Composite roll cover. Yeah, glorious. Now I can't close it. Let's remove that again. Composite roll cover. The handle shall be there. That looks just wrong, man. It does anyway. Let's not think about it. Maybe I will extend the station in this direction and remove that locker, and that will then solve the problem. Why is this not powered? Yeah, okay, let's demonstrate then the hassle of dealing with that. Here we have the cable. Oh, it ends there. That would explain it then. Right? I mean, I think so. I'm not sure. What do you think? Do I have all my tools? Physical destruction tools, rotation tools, wrenchy tools, and custom and weldy tools. Okay. Well, now I can't get to that cable because it's below that thing. Not a problem, there's a trick. Let's just expand that cable, delete it, and then, yeah. Now the station, the door has power, so we could program it to react to overpressure. And I will do that, and it will take only a few seconds. Where is my... Didn't I have some steel sheets on me? Yep, I did. Oh, we have enough electricity. How much electricity, you wonder? Oh, okay. Oh, I have to fight once more with my stupid little program here. Reminder program. It's great, but not good for video recording. Am I doing that even? Sometimes I just keep rambling and then, oh, the program wasn't on, but it is. Only 1 hour. We're quite fast this time, aren't we? So load batch into register R0 from all batteries on the logic network, the value ratio, and I want the average. Then I want to write to the to all the devices of the type diode slide, particularly the one setting R0, and I also want that thing to be on. Just a little thing I have to do afterwards. I mean, it doesn't have to be on, but I want it to be on. That's why, yeah. Define CLS hash structure diode slide. Define in slide but. And now we should be able to see the, yeah. Okay, I'm doing something wrong. I'm writing the setting correctly from the register that has the ratio of how full the batteries are, but I was also writing that very value to whether the slides should be on, whether the thing should be on, and that value changed all the time, so click, click, click. So that's how full it is. Almost full, yeah, not almost full, but quite, and empty. Yeah, that fits. That is how full our station batteries are overall. This outer door. Class door hash structure glass door glass English double S. Define ins door hash. Yeah, which one? Let's be so bold, airlock 1. What's the name? Door outer, yeah. That was complicated. The inner is not necessary, but while I'm at it. And then we finally have the oppress. Oppress. There's a P missing here, so shut up. Door overpressure. Let's see. I will explain this stuff, but I first want to show off, you know. Load batch named into R0 from class door. Install AL1 outer open. So I want to know, is the outer door open? Well, let's take the inner door. Actually, it makes more sense. If the inner door is open, then I want to write batch named to all the devices that are structure light, long, wide. I think, I'm not sure, but we can look that up in the Stationpedia. On R0, write batch named. No, write batch. And then there's this thing with the pressure. We have the gas sensor here, which we already loaded, the temperature. Now we want the pressure. Load batch into the pressure. We want the pressure in R0. We get that in kilopascals. And then we will just create a logic statement. We will say write greater than, if R0 in kilopascals is greater than 90, this shall be a 1. And then we say write to the door open R0. And so now we have solved multiple things at once. Let me show. Okay, nothing happened. Let me open that manually. It closed by itself. Therefore, it's currently under the spell of the endless loop that does stuff. The pressure in here is 86 kilopascals, actually. Let's be a bit crude and say that the max pressure that we want in our station is 80 kilopascals. See, the door is opening until the pressure will no longer be too high, as measured by that sensor over here. And now it has closed again. I will now set this to 90 because 80 is a bit low for my taste. So we have solved the overpressure thing. What is the other thing that I did? Well, when I'm outside, I don't need the lights in here to burn. So let's all lights turn off as soon as the inner door is closed. So let's summarize what we have, and then I will explain the source code in detail. And those who will think, oh, Gro, not again, which I have done like a dozen times across all my videos, then I'm sorry, I will do it anyway. Nahar. So what do we have? We have a little box room here with an appreciable temperature. Lots of CO2, deadly for humans actually, but that is not... Oh. But that is not yet simulated in the game, sadly. I wish they were different. Anyway, so then we have a cooling solution here that is automated, that makes sure that the temperature stays like that. We have lots of station batteries, well, 4. And it's tricky to say how full are they. No, it's not. We can just see that here. And if you want it as a number, then I just slap an LED display here and we'll write the same value that I'm writing to this dude, to that dude, maybe as a percentage, maybe multiplied, divided, removed some decimal places, whatever I want. And then we have this thing here. When the inner door is closed, the lights will not be on, so we will save some electricity and not be able to see the station from afar so easily. That's a downside. I mean, I can still do something. I can have a light on the roof that will turn on only when these are off, for example. And what else is there? Didn't I automate something else also? I've already forgotten, it was so easy. Yeah, if the pressure is too high, this door will open. If the temperature is too high, this cooling solution will kick in. And I mean, we implemented all that with explanation and such over the stretch of 1 hour. I mean, that's how powerful this is. Imagine to have to do that with all these logic chips, you know, with these dudes that I explained and used in the previous episode, which was episode 2. These and memory chips. That would be killer. Oh, maybe I should save the game. So, yeah, there's autosave, you don't have to worry, but I have that off, so I have to worry. Oh yeah, right, there's something else we can do before I go into the explanation of the source code. Let me just demonstrate that. I will turn this dude on. It is connected here. Then I have to somehow get my hands occupied, which is ridiculous. I wonder what will happen now. Ah, okay. You can see here the temperature in there is rising, but the liters in here are not. So this thing is now drawing 1000 something watts to melt that little ice in there, which is a lot of watts, if you ask me, Dr. Watson. See, that's 1000 watts. I don't want that. So let's change that then. SB hash structure ice crusher setting 0. Okay, that's it. Weiter geht's. And now if I flip this dude on and done. Hey, where's the liquid? Shouldn't there be liquid in there? Why is this guy not outputting his water? I have that in a different station also. Is that a bug? I wonder, I have to ask if someone else has the same problem. I mean, normally it does that, so I don't know what's going on. You see it's bleeding the nitrogen into this room. But for whatever reason, the liquids, the water is not going in there. I don't know. Here we have a pressure of 87 kilopascals. Here we have 600 kilopascals, which is quite higher, so that can also not be the reason. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it. Did I wire it up incorrectly? I don't think so. I mean, nitrogen here is 12%, and nitrogen here is 11%. And here it's 12%. That means that currently something's being excreted here. 11, 12. So yeah, I piped that up correctly. That is for liquid, that is for gas. Here it also says liquid connector. I don't know what's happening, why that's not working. I don't know. I have to ask. That's weird. So now that we have done all these things so quickly and so easily, what is it that we have actually done? So this thing, when it's running, and I just turned it off, that's dangerous. Very dangerous. Because what's happening now is the station is cooling. And it's cooling, and it's cooling, and it won't fucking stop. And now it does. Of course I could just have flipped the switch manually, but well, you have to think of that then. If you don't, then yeah. I had that once in a moon station, where I have an automated cooling system, and there was a greenhouse. Of course, we will need one here also. And then I introduced, I had some LED display up that was hooked up to the device, and I hadn't hooked that up in the way that is error resistant. And so when I cut the cable, there was suddenly an error effectively in the source code, so it was no longer running, but the cooling was currently on, and I realized that too late. I was looking over there, And there, over there was my building. I was on the outside where the vacuum is, and I saw, oh, that the air is moving inside. What's happening? Why? This doesn't stop? Why? And I went inside. It was minus like 30 degrees or something. And then I quickly ran outside. I mean, of course, I quickly solved the problem. I just turned that off, you know. And then I ran outside. There was a furnace connected to that, which I had used to fill the room with CO2, with waste CO2 from the burning processes. So I have some atmosphere for my plants, you know. And so I fired that up again and pumped the gas in there without cooling. And so I heated it up and so forth. That's the kind of action scenes that can emerge here in this most beautiful game of all. Yeah, a greenhouse. Where is the hydroponics? The portable hydroponics. Where will I place them? Here's our water that we drink. Why shouldn't then here also be the food that we eat? A bit in the way, but you know, I mean, this is just the portable hydroponics, the things that you have in the beginning. This is not for an actual greenhouse, okay? But it's better than nothing, so. Here is a slot for water, and you have to make sure that there's water in there. It doesn't have to be this much. I mean, we're talking 12 liters here. 1 liter would be enough for a long time. I mean, really, really, really long. So long that I would even deem it a bug that it is that long. That is how long it is. We have a temperature of 17 degrees. That's good, because if the water is too cold, I mean minus degrees, for example, then the plants would say, you know what, I'm gonna die. And so we have stable pressure. We have stable temperature. We have a good gas mixture here, as in we have enough CO2, which means that now we will plant potatoes. If I find them, that is... Oh, there they are. So you just take the bag of potatoes, I have 3, and plop them down here. And then you realize, oh damn, I forgot something. No, now I have to quickly... Don't worry, there's enough time. Because what I've forgotten is that this planet is too dark, even when the sun is out, for the plants. So I have to put up a grow light. And this grow light cannot burn the whole time. Even in reality, in general, plants don't like when there's eternal day, you know? And so, I mean, turning this... okay, these lights, or this light, doesn't do anything. Just like you cannot shine your flashlight on the solar panel and then it will produce something. It doesn't work. Hey, what did I just show here? Oh, damage. Yeah, of course, from the storm. Damage 69%. Should we remove that dude? I mean, it's damaged anyway. Or should we repair it? We have some glass sheets. I want to repair it one more time. When I click here, this will turn the light on. This light triggers the plants, and so does the sun when it's out. I want to automate that. Let's do that then. Daylight sensor. Oh, right, it's just sensor because it's a kit. Where will we put this? I could put this down here, for example. No, there's no way to connect the cable. Or maybe over here? It's a bit in the shadow, I'm not sure. I would like to put that in a place that will probably get sunlight when the sun is out. This looks good. And I do have the assumption that there is a cable down there. Let's see if that assumption is correct. We cannot see that by reading here. Solar angle, 52%. Will go to 51 until it's 0. And 0 is noon when the sensor is on the ground. When it's on the ceiling, then it's the opposite. Then it's 180. Now where here it is, if it is 90 degrees, then it is exactly horizon. And 180, then it is midnight, or wherever that would then be. I mean, the sun doesn't have to be exactly over there for midnight to be midnight, but that is how it works. The vertical angle will work like that. And so what we need is we need to read that dude and apply it to this lamp, and then we're fine. So I will just read that sensor. Sense day. Yeah, if I have another one, I will give it a more extensive name, whatever. Let's see what the vertical angle is then. Load batch named into R0 from all daylight sensors on the current cable network, which have this name. The value vertical, and if there would be multiple values, then I don't give a fuck. There's only one. So let's just sum them up. Now I want to create a logic value from this. I will just say write if less than. So if the sun is almost up. See, I will also plant fern. I know that the fern needs a bit more light, so I already take that into consideration. It's not important, it's just experience at play. So if R0 is less than 110, then the sun is moving towards 0, which is noon, or moving away from 0, doesn't matter, it will then be day. And that is when the light shall be on. So, write batch named, or write batch, we just need the grow light in general, to class growlit on R0, done. That is our greenhouse lighting automation. Is it turning on? It is turning on, so it is now under control of the logic. And if I did make a mistake, then during the night it will automatically turn off. So that's that problem out of the way. So I said I would explain the source code. Let me first tell you some secondary stuff. You see here, this thing has screws. Let's screw them. The arc furnace can be chosen. Or the computer. Or the console, that's the one in the airlock. Or the cooling vent inner and so forth. All the devices that currently are there on this cable network. And I can keep clicking, they're alphabetically sorted. And then I'm at the beginning again. I can also go backwards by holding R, you can see that here in the tooltip. And this allows us even to go back to no device, which the forward direction doesn't have. So yeah, if you want to clean things up, you can do this. I can use these screws in the source code. I can set a device here with the screwdriver, and then I can just go in the source code and say I want to load from D0 the setting, the pressure, for example. Then I will get that. Or I can write to, oh right, this would have been this, yeah. Load into R0. See, when you load something, or when you write something, when you load a value or save a value, then it always wants to know where. So when you load, you have to tell it where into this register. When you write, you have to tell it where into the scroll light. But I don't like to use the screws for multiple reasons. Let me explain. One reason, we only have 6 of these. Second reason, if I, for example, have this on the screw and I dismantle it and then I put it up again, then the source code will blink an error because this device no longer exists. Because every device has its own unique objective identity. Let's look at those. With the configuration cartridge. I hope I didn't make that one already. Probably not. Here we can see the values that this dude has, what the current mode is, whether it's activated. Activated means there is sunlight right now. I could, for example, say, okay, when there's actual sunlight falling on this grid, then how about we turn off the lights? See, I mean, it's interesting. The plants need a certain amount of duration of light and a certain duration of darkness. This is not a hard cutoff, like 7 minutes, no more, no less. No, it's flexible, but still, that's the rules that exists. Can be looked up in the Stationpedia, and when you make the plant analyzer cartridge, then you can actually look at all those values. But that is then why I would control that, the lighting of this, using the daylight sensor's timing. Basically, where the sun is, you know, is it currently night or is it currently day? But if I would want to turn on these lights here, because I currently have or haven't sun, then I would want to use the question whether this grid here is exposed to sunlight and not the day-night value. Else these guys will be off even when the sun is behind Jupiter. Interesting, no? Well, and you can see here at the very bottom we have the reference ID. This reference ID cannot be looked up in the Stationpedia. Because why? How should the Stationpedia be able to tell you the ID of some random daylight sensor? It can only talk generally. It cannot talk about an individual device. How would it be supposed to do that? So what is this number then, what you see here? This number is identical to that text. That is, when I use this text here with the hash statement that you have seen so many times right now, it will transform that into this number. And this number represents this type of device. And so I can then work with all devices on the local cable network that are of this type whenever I use this number, or when I respectively use this but hashed. And I can click here to copy that to the clipboard. Same here. Very convenient. And I can also program using the reference IDs. There's the statement then that reads like this. This will be write directly, and then I have the ID number, or I will say load directly into R0 from ID number. But why do I not like to do that? Because if I then unscrew this dude and then put it there again, the reference ID down here will be a new one. They are never reused. It's a different one. That's the same that what you experience when I would deconstruct this dude or that dude and then put them up again. The airlock board will no longer function. It will actually be broken and cannot be repaired, and you have to build a new one, but that is a bug that will eventually be fixed. I'm just saying, in principle, this thing loses its programming just because the reference ID of this guy has changed, or rather, when you take it down and put it up again, it cannot be seen again as the same thing. But this dude I have addressed by the type daylight sensor, and if I deconstruct this and put it up again, it will of course still be a daylight sensor. And then if I also name it sense day, then the programming will work, because it can find the daylight sensor with that name. There's a downside to this approach that I prefer, though. The downside is, if the daylight sensor would not be available, then my nice batch reader command that says read this respective value from all devices of type daylight sensor that have this name from the local cable network will just read, I guess, a 0 or whatever without batting an eye. I will not realize that there's an error. But I have been doing this for a long time like this, and I haven't regretted it. So I can say it is not just a viable, but even the approach that I would recommend to be used. Yeah. Here, prefab hash 094. 094. It's the same number. That's the number. And the reference ID? How about this? I can... let's look at this guy here. The electronics printer. 5712. 5712. S directly. 5712 on 1. Export. Hey, wait. Export. Device not found. Yeah, the problem is this dude. I haven't yet connected the logic cable. I have only connected the power cable. I don't need to do that now, but I want to demonstrate this, and so I will. But now you have seen that there's indeed an upside to doing it like this, because then the system will tell you, dude, you did something wrong here, man. But what you have seen here, this is me writing it. I can also read it, and then depending on what the value is, I can turn something on and off. For example, I could add a stacker to the right side of this dude. There's even room for this. Maybe I should do that. And then it would pipe everything into the stacker. And if I don't want the stacker to be on anymore, because this dude is also off, I mean, why should the stacker then be running? It's dedicated to be used by this thing. Then I can just say, well, turn that on, or turn that off also automatically. I don't care. Click, 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 click. I've done that before. It's not hard. But okay. So we can address devices by just putting them here, and this screw then will internally work using this reference ID that we just saw. I mean, it's not like we know that, but that's the way it actually is. That's the way it does work, yes. Trust me. And then if I go and rename the device that I have put to the screw here and look at the screw again, I will that new name. I would see that new name that renames the device, because the reference is not the name. The reference is this number. The number hasn't changed, so why shouldn't I see still that device and therefore also its updated properties, which is the changed name. So I can do the same in the source code. I can just say write directly to an ID. I've just demonstrated that with the electronics printer, which has the same downside. If the device is somehow no longer there, then there will be an error. And so the source code, the program will be halted, but I will also be told that this is so, instead of walking through the world, Humpty Dumpty, la la la, everything's fine, while behind me the world is on fire, you know? So that's one way to do it. Using the screws, which is direct ID addressing, or using it in the source code manually as direct ID addressing. But you can also just use the approach of writing batch. So here I'm not saying write to a certain screw, or write directly to a certain device, which is effectively the same. But I'm saying write to all devices of this type, and they shall be on, or they shall be off. And there's a variant of this, SBN, which means write to all the devices of this type with this name on 1. This name, or I mean, this number is of course chaos. I just, you know, I have a cat. It just sat on the keyboard for a moment. This is how I make my videos. So here we have, let's take the diode slide. Diode slide is the thing, the progress bar lamp that is at the batteries. This is one of the kit light, you know. I use the big lights all the time for lighting, but this is the only one of this kit that has this progress bar value. Progress bar feature. By the way, there's also among this kit an LED type, which you can turn on and off. It's a weak lamp. The diode slide is also a lamp, but it doesn't light anything. It's just bright or dark itself. It doesn't light anything. The other lights have 50 watts. The LED that I'm not now talking about has 25 watts, and it lights the environment, but only weakly. The interesting thing about the LED is you can set its color with source code. But you can also change the color of the light. You saw that in the intro to this video, and you can do that by spray painting the lights. But the LED you don't have to spray paint. You can just set the color with source code. Anyway, here I am saying this is the type that I want to refer to. This must be the correct word, else the source code will work, but the program will not actually do what it's supposed to. And I turn this text into the number that is into the correct number. The type number. And here I'm turning the name that I gave the dude into the correct number for that. And then down here where the diode slide is used, I'm saying write batch, like write to all devices of the type that have a certain name. So write to all devices that are the diode slide that also have this name, that they shall be on. I could give this name to multiple of these slides, and then all of them would turn on. And this is actually a meaningful procedure. For example, when I put up some solar panels that are supposed to point at the sun, which, you guessed it, with a daylight sensor is easy because it already gives us the angle where the sun is. We just might have to rotate it by 90 degrees. Oh no, rotation by 90 degrees! Dude, add R0, R0, 90, thank you and goodbye, that's all. Or maybe 180 or 270. You don't have to do some trigonometry for that. It's easy. In that case, we might have a row of solar panels that are placed down this way. But then we might have a row of solar panels placed down the other way, so that we only have to place down one cable between them that connects them. But then one of them has to be turned this way and the other has to be turned that way. Well, then we use this write batch name approach and give one row, for example, the name A, and the other row the name B. And the problem is solved. Yes, it is that simple. I know it's a lot of shit that I'm throwing at you here, but I mean, you must realize it's not complicated. It's just much and it's just new, but complicated it is not. So here you can see I have these numbers up here. I'm defining a value and the value will get this number value. But I can just skip that whole step and just put that hash thing in here directly. This will then become the number and finished. Since I need the ice crusher only once, yeah, why not do this here? But one should try to avoid redundancies. Also, it might be more systematic to do these definitions all up here, but this will then also cost you lines, and we only have 128 of these, zero indexed, like proper computer people do, which has mathematical benefits. So if the last line gets pushed down by some editing up there and I don't take care, then that's it, the line is gone. It won't come back, it's lost. So if you structure your source code like this, like start blah 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 jump start, then you will find out rather quickly when that happened, because then this statement will be the one that fell out of reality. But it's not too likely that this happens, because you will probably have rather some subroutines down here. See, I can jump not just to certain markers, but I can also jump to subroutines. The difference between this statement and that statement is that this statement will, before it jumps down here, remember in a special register, which is register RA, where we were. And so once this dude is done with whatever it's doing, we can do jump RA, and then it will continue here. And the upside is that I can use the subroutine also here and here and here, and the source code execution will always continue in that respective place. And guess what? If you down here, if you use some registers, if you read from some registers, then suddenly we have parameters. So we can throw arguments at the subroutine. We can set the registers up with some value, then we call the subroutine, it will work with those values, and it will return. That is pretty cool, I find. Anyway, so if you have subroutines down there, then you won't see so clearly that that you done goofed. Save, edit. You can pause the entire game up here, except in multiplayer. Obviously not. I mean, hey dude, yesterday the game was cool, right? What? I don't know, it was over in a minute. No, that's not how it works. So we define our... why do I use these names? Does it have to be called CLSVent and InsVent in? No, you can call it Peter, Christoph, or fuck me sideways. It doesn't matter what you call it, but I've used these names because as programmers, we often deal with classes and instances, meaning we are dealing with types, for example, the type string, or the type integer, or the type car, or whatever type we have defined or that might already exist in the programming language. And then whenever we declare a variable of that type, then that variable is an instance of that type. And just like here we have the vent type, and then we have the respective instance, the inner vent, the outer vent, and so forth. And so I say, this is my type, my class, and this is my instance. This is just the convention that I have used for myself, and I don't care which one you use. It's yours to decide. Okay, these are the definitions. Then what happens? The source code starts here. The actual action starts here, continues on until here, and then we jump back to start. The yield here will wait 0.5 seconds every time, not precisely, because the game simulation isn't that precise regarding that, but 0.5 seconds roughly. And then this line will just be skipped over since there's nothing. Then we are loading from the arc furnace whether the slot 0 is occupied. I'm not sure yet if I have done that correctly, but I guess so. See, I told you about the SB command to write batch and SBN to write batch named, so only things that have that respective name. And we also have load batch into a register or load batch name into a register. But there's also load batch slot and even load batch named slot. What does that mean? Well, I'm still doing the same thing as before, except this time I'm addressing the slot of that device. So just like with the slot reader chip, we can now read, is slot 0, which is the import slot of this dude, is that occupied? Slots, import, index 0, export, index 1. Logic values, the logic slots, and what you can read. Occupied, occupant hash, quantity. Hey, wait, what does occupant hash mean? Well, see, here we see the reference ID. So if I, for whatever reason, care about the objective ID number of that particular piece of iron ore that I dug up from underground, then I can look up here the reference ID. That is not so productive in regards to the arc furnace. But the occupant hash, that one is interesting. Because what is that? Returns the hash of the current occupant, the unique identifier of the thing. And this is not true. This is the unique identifier of the type, so the description needs some fixing. And what is that? Well, let's look for example at iron ore. This item has an ID number. Like the structures you can build in the world, and like the items from which they are built, the iron ore itself is also an item that has a number. And if I detect that it is this number, then I can show an image of this on a screen above the arc furnace, so I know which item of my stack that I have been throwing in there when I came back home from mining is currently being smelted. And I can even put a diode slide in there and show the progress, because the stack size maximum is 50, and I can read from the arc furnace here the quantity. So I can read, oh, it's 24. 24 divided by 50 is 0.47 or something. I show that on the diode slide, and so we see, it's half done. Nice. Yep, easily done. How can I make such a hash display? Well, you look for the hash display. See, that is one of the cartridges that you can make with for the consoles. I wonder if that's described here. Logic devices. Let's see, console. The kit console can build various things. For example, the console that we already know from the airlock, or it's a big brother, which is the same thing, but it has two outputs, logic and power separate. That's why it's called dual. The solar panels are the same way. You can have a solar panel that has one output, which I prefer nowadays, or you can have one with two. You want one with two if you want to control the orientation of your solar panels from your station's logic network. I mean, you will have multiple, but currently we only have one in here. Because that shouldn't be connected to the big cables that you want to pipe from your solar panels to the input of your station batteries, which then go back from the output side of the station battery into this logic network and back into the input side of the station battery. Some cable is gonna die. You can rely on that. So then you would want the dual ones. But I would just put a dedicated circuit and computer, maybe also computer, maybe not, into that room where you have your storm protected solar panels that point at the sun automatically, and then you can use the single ones, not the dual ones, which saves you on cables too. Console monitor is, I'm not sure, but I think it's the same as these dudes. It's just for placing above you, so you can conveniently look at a flat surface or something. I think it's a bit gimmicky. I've never used it. Then we have these ones, LED display, very important. Let's make one. Let's make an LED display. But not with a pipe bender. You can't do that. Console mio. So I want to see how full my station batteries are in percent. That would be nice. Or maybe even more complicated than that. stupidly, as opposed to the thing, the airlock that we have seen, which we can rotate any which way, and the display will always have the correct orientation anyway. These dudes will only be readable in this way. This, and this way will just look turned, and yeah, that sucks. I can only say it sucks. That's the kind of language I use. So yeah, live with it. Live with it. Maybe I want to see that on the wall while we're at it. I can't place that in the air here. I could build a wall here behind which this then is, and you know, but I don't wanna. Should we do that? I've never done that in my entire... Let's do that. I want to test that out. Just for a moment. It's still cooling, man. The arc furnace is still screaming at the room, "Be warm!" And the room's like, no. Do I not have glass? Where is all my glass? Confused. I guess I used it up already. Yeah, I could have done that easier. I figure this guy is just small enough that it can just be attached to the cable. I mean, whatever. Still cooling. What is with that furnace, man? Why is it still heating the room so much? I mean, I know that there's some waste heat being produced by for example, myself. I also increase waste heat. Yeah, that's what's happening. Thriving towards fruiting. Very good. But dude, the furnace, 7 megapascals still, 321 K. So what temperature is that? 273.15. That would be 7, and 21 would be 28 degrees. Let's see if this dude agrees. Probably 27.7 or whatever. Not like that. 47. Okay, I just miscalculated slightly. So no wonder the room is kind of getting warm. I will look at the plants later, but so that I don't forget it, I will already do this. And now let's put this aside again, because we were busy with something else. Which was the dealing with the LED. So let's give this dude a name. I think it actually looks nice this way. It doesn't look out of place. It's just something I've never seen before, because I never do this. LED bats. So you know what we have to do, right? I will have to define the type, I will have to define the name, and then I can use SBN. I don't know exactly what the name is. Something LED3 or so, I don't remember. So let's look that up then. Oh, there we are, lol. Good flow today. So where's the battery stuffs? Up here. So I want to write here that the thing shall be on, and I also want to write the value, and since I want to be funny, I also want to write the color. Setting is once more the value. Oh, something important that I forgot. When you say SDB, then you're writing to the device where the chip is housed. In this case, you are writing to the chip housing, obviously, and you can do setting. And then I would have 214 displayed on the device if I point there. I mean, I would show you that. What's that good for? Well, for debugging, for example. How about I write, for example, this value there? Which is this value. And what value is that? That's my current ratio of my station batteries.
You are listening to Synthera on Zoma FM.
Doesn't matter which order you. This is just aesthetics. Doesn't matter. But I want to change that value. See, let's first demonstrate this. Export. Nothing's happening. What's my mistake? You can see the station battery is actually out. That's what did I say about the flow today, dude? I mean, okay, this is not working because this one's on the wrong network. This guy is not on the right cable network. It is on that network here, which goes over to this guy. That's why it's not under our control. It doesn't receive the information. But we can see what would be written 0.62. And you can see here that the value is descending slowly. That's because... oh, now it's increasing. Well, the wind kicked up, I would say. So we can measure the wind speed? Yes, of course. We just have to put a dedicated wind turbine out there for that purpose, and we measure its output. What do you think? This is a peasant's game, like all games, all other games? This is Stationeers, man. So, how do we solve that thing with the LED? Do we have to remove it then? I mean, this was so nicely placed. No, we don't have to. We use the logic mirror. Where would I place this? Up here. That makes sense, actually. Makes a lot of sense. Logic mirror. Logic mirror. It's perfectly placed. The logic mirror, of course, needs power, else it won't work. And it needs to output whatever we want to mirror to another network. And that's what it's doing now. And this is the input side? Or isn't it?
Hydration critical.
I thought it was the right side. Anyway, let's just assume it is. And now I have to cable this down. Oh, is it really perfectly placed? No, it's not. We have a problem, Houston. Ah, crap. Oh, this works! Man, are we blessed. Can I also do that? I can. Nice. Okay, now we can go and mirror this device over to our normal, the network that we're mostly using. So area power controller, LED BET, thank you very much. Then we turn this on, now it exists. Why isn't this reacting yet? Because we are writing to that thing. We have to write to that thing though. So this is called MLM LED BET. Because now we have to write to this device. But funny enough, the type of device that we have to deal with here is not the type logic mirror. It's, I mean, it kind of makes sense. We still have to deal with this device, but this is... Yeah, that's stupid. That's a stupid parsing. It doesn't matter. It's just code highlighting. Let's see if that works. I'm not sure, actually. It doesn't. What's my mistake? I guess I also have to indeed use the logic mirror. Yep. 63%. Why do we get percent here and why is it so dark? I should use white instead. It's better visible here. Mode 1 shows the percentage. You can actually point here and we see the exact value. But I want to see from afar whether the value is increasing or decreasing. So using the percentage, that's not good because it's always rounded to this value. I can of course just multiply that and say we write not 0.63 into this device, but 6.31. Then we would see 631%. But that doesn't seem right. I mean, how about something else? We can also use mode 2, which is for kilowatts and watts and such. And depending on how high the value is, that's the unit that will then be used. Of course, since we're writing 0.633 watts is what the device is thinking, it's only saying W here and not kW. If you're using a larger LED display, it will have more digits and it will also be larger. So let's make that thing white. I know I have more to explain about the source code, but this, I mean, it's the perfect distraction game. It distracts you from the distraction that distracts you from the distraction, and then you return to the world and of idiots, and then you return back to this world. Now you might say, that's pathetic. No, it's not pathetic. See, what's pathetic is to be loveless. And loveless would be if I go out there and force the people to behave differently. That is loveless. And loveless is pathetic. Retreating, however, and letting the people their own free will without disturbing that free will, that is noble. So let's use mode 0. Let's first take a look. You can guess what this means. 0.63 something. But this is a bit stupid. I don't want to see it like this. Let's multiply that. So let's go here and multiply our 0 with 10, for example, to shift it to the left. So instead of wasting one digit on the 0, which will always be 0 unless the things are maximally full, now we have 6.32 and something. And if we now go forth and say, dude, how about 100? Remember percentages? Cool thing, huh? Now we have 63.14%. And falling. If you use a bigger such display, we will have more digits, and since the number is always centered horizontally, this can be a bit annoying to show it like this. And then you might just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to multiply that thing with 10,000 and then I round it to a full digit, to a full integer. Then you will have a number here that is not really a percentage, but then 10,000 will be what you would expect 100 to say, you know? 100 would be, if your batteries are full, it would say 10,000, for example. But this would mean that you always have the same amount of digits. So the centering effect will not make that number jump all over the place. But if you use decimal places, then if there is a 0 over here, that 0 might just be stripped. Like, oh, no, here's not happening. But I have seen it before, I'm pretty sure, if they haven't changed their behavior. Okay, so we have an LED display. Where was I? I was trying to do something with consoles, right? Something console. How did I get there? I don't know. So let's just ignore that and continue explaining the source code. So we have this endless loop here. Then we are reading the slot of the arc furnace, whether it's occupied. Yeah, I think we were doing something here. Yeah, right, the hash display thing. That's why I was reading up on the console. Then we have the LEDs, yeah. Which values do they have? For example, on, color, and so forth. You can also read how much power they're consuming. So, is there something written here about the consoles? We have the logic values, where they're on. But it doesn't say anything about the circuit board here. Type circuit board. So let's look for circuit board, if that's a search term. It is. So these are the circuit boards that exist. That's quite a few. Yes, it is. Airlock for only having a moon situation. And, you know, once you enter the airlock from the indoors, the doors will close, the atmosphere will be pumped back into the station, and the outer door will open. So if you have your arc furnace on the outdoors, smelting some iron ore, and there is some pollutant in the air, even though there's vacuum otherwise, then you might actually walk into your station and bring that with you. If you have the advanced airlock, that is even on the moon, that's better. Also, you can set the repressurization value, which is the default of 100 here, so that thing will just keep cycling forever. If you don't have that pressure, you can cancel it, of course, but then you have to turn it on, which consumes 50 watts during that time. It's inconvenient. Here you can just set, say, a repressurize to 0 and just open, which is explosive decompression, and that's cheesing. So I hope that Rocketworks will do something about that and make explosive decompression a bit more violent. You know, some special effect there that might smack your suit or whatever, so that you actually have to build proper airlocks. Air control is to create a draft. Let's say you have a station that is kind of a corridor, which this station kind of is, except it goes around a corner. Then you could say, pipe some gas in from one side and pipe the gas out from the other side. But make sure that there's some kind of, let's say the input side, it tries to achieve 100, but the output side is trying to pump until it is down to 90. I mean, maybe it's a bit drastic to have 10 kilopascals different, but anyway, then there would be a constant airstream. And this would allow you to go there to the downstream side, where the gas is then pumped out, and filter it. So you have some kind of central air scenario there. And the air control board makes it easier. Of course, we would now use MIPS IC10 assembly programming, since we are sophisticated. This doesn't exist, I believe, for real. Camera display also doesn't exist for real. There were cameras back then, but this will probably not come back due to rendering performance issues. Then we have door control, where I can be somewhere in my station, push the button, and then some door that I have assigned here will open or close. I have never used that, so I don't know what that looks like. Gas display, you can choose which value it shows. Is it the temperature or the pressure? That's useful. That you have that on one of the tutorials, the one of the furnace. There you have two such displays of the same type. One shows the temperature, one shows the pressure. Graph display, yeah, that's very cool. It's a 30-second graph, so you can have a curve. You can, for example, show what's the current wind speed over time. That would be interesting. Shall we do this? Yeah, let's do that. Let's show the wind speed over time. Let's make a dedicated wind turbine just for the fuck of it. I want to do that. Why not? It's science. So let's make an upright wind turbine, whose sole purpose is to tell us what the wind speed is. And then we also need the graph display. And then we need a console or two. I need more printers, man. So how are we looking? Battery 63%, we're fine. Currently falling, but okay. And we can turn off the lights, right? And now it should be rising, I believe. Because the amount of watts we are currently not consuming is 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. And now that the manufacturer is no longer producing, this should indeed count up. And it is. Still counting up means the wind is high. I like to see that, and I actually would like to see that right here, I would say. So let's have an upright wind turbine whose purpose it is. Can I place that on the roof? Oh, I still have my thingies on here. What if the CO2 is too low at the station for our plant? Well, then let's make a display for that. Or shall we even have an alarm? An audible alarm? Wouldn't that be something? You can do that? Of course you can do that! Oh, it requires a framer support. That's shit, man. That's... I object to that decision.
Power low.
Where will I place this then? I need to place that on a frame. But it shall not be part of the... no, that's sadly not how it works. It shall not be part of that power network. If I put it here, it might actually be influenced by the arc furnace. I don't know, that might be so. I mean, there's some thermal stuff going on, and then you see the air streaming around here. That would be air movement, and I don't want the measurement to be fudged, so I have to put that somewhere else. Maybe I should put it directly here behind the computer. That would be a good idea, because then we know what the fuck that thing is good for and why it's standing alone. For computer fun, that's why. I've never done this thing with the wind turbine measurement. It's a new one. Fun! Frame? Frame. I think I used all those up because I counted them the last time. Could that be? So let's switch to steel manufacturing now, because that is more efficient. You will need less than half the iron or less than half the materials if you go for steel sheets and steel frames than for iron frames and iron sheets. Of course, often you cannot choose. For example, to weld these up, to complete the construction of these, you need iron sheets. But when you have the choice, well, make the choice. Are we having fun yet? Isn't this game brutally awesome? And what is this so far? This is a little room where I have my basic manufactories, but this is not really a station yet. It's just me being able to survive in a little box. I don't have a room yet where I can take a shower. I don't have a proper greenhouse yet with automatically controlled... Oh, moderately... Oh, okay. Something's wrong. Something is wrong. What is it that is wrong? I need to find out. Is growing moderately well towards fruiting. Why moderately well? What is the reason? It's currently still day. Where's the sun? I cannot tell. Probably it's evening. Let's look at the daylight sensor. We see 87, probably 88 afterwards. Yep, the sun is going down. So once it reaches 110, I would expect this light to go off. If it doesn't, then we know why the plant is not growing so well, because there's just too much light. But we can also just use the plant analyzer cartridge, which we printed earlier. So we see the growth efficiency 68%. That is from which the statement moderately well is derived. Now it's 67%, so it's going down. Something's going down here. Breathing efficiency is fine, so we have good atmosphere. I would expect so. We have lots of CO2. Temperature efficiency 100%. Yeah, the normal ranges from 20 to 30 degrees, which you can look up here. Huh. You can see here what the normal values are, but this depends on the genes. Yes, they have genes, and you can do gene splicing and gene analysis, and the offspring of these plants will behave differently. For example, if a plant grows in a very cold atmosphere, then afterwards it will be more tolerant to, the offspring will be more tolerant to colder atmospheres. You might say, that's bullshit, dude. Yeah, well, it's kind of a representation of evolution in a fast gamified format. First of all, it is fast gamified. So you don't have to, normally this works with random mutations and selection. But here it's just the experience that the plant had, and then the offspring will be adjusted in that direction. So it's very roughly the same thing. See, that's what happens when you intensely gamify that. Anyway, 20 to 30 degrees. So that's not the reason.
Hunger critical.
And you can see the min ideal temperature is 19. So the seeds that we got were not even standard. They were a bit off standard. Pressure efficiency 100%. Yeah, we have 83 kilopascals, and the pressure we can see min ideal, max ideal is 53 to 110. Current pressure is 83. That's fine. Light efficiency is 64%. Light intensity is 80%. What is with the light efficiency? We have illumination stretch. Aha, that's usually the culprit. I mean, in 99%, I would say 99 % of the cases when someone 105, when someone is having trouble with their plants and they pop up in the forums, it is because of light. And everybody would say, dude, look at it with the plant analyzer cartridge. And not in this tone, but in principle, you know? Because that question comes up all the time and it's always this answer. You have turned on the light too much, or it has too little light. So we see here, the problem is it is dark deficient. Oh, it has grown. 113 and the light is still on. So the light doesn't turn off. I've made a mistake with the daylight sensor. So now we have a debugging situation and I will use that. We go here and I say, instead of writing this constant here, I will remove that. I will write the daylight sensor's vertical value, if I can find it. Here. I will write that value to the housing. So then we can see whether I'm actually reading that dude or not. I am not. And that is the problem then. So day sense's name is structure daylight sensor. Structure daylight sensor. Structure daylight sensor. That doesn't seem to be the problem. Maybe it's just not wired up correctly. I mean, after all, I did that blind. Maybe I made a mistake. That's not the reason though. That's not the problem. It is wired up correctly. Interesting. What is the problem? I don't know. Of course it's logical and will be solvable and we will probably solve it in seconds, but what is the problem? Why do I not see the solar angle? So this thing not turning off means that the potato will just get too much light. So it is dark deficient, yeah. Why do I not get the value of the daylight sensor vertical here? Let's study again what we have regards to the daylight sensor. Define CLS, sense day. Define ins, sense day. It might, for example, be that I have used this same word down here. Then this value would, of course, have been replaced. I wish they couldn't be replaced. I mean, when do you really need to recycle such a value? But that's the way it is. Structure, you know what? Let's copy this text, paste it here, and then compare. Oh, wait, this was stupid. Wrong line. Structure daylight sensor. No, that's correct. That's not the mistake. Ins sense day, sense day. So what am I doing with that? Load batch named. That is correct. Into R0, yes. Class sense day. Aha, that's the mistake. I'm not reading ins sense day. And now we can remove this because we will see immediately that this works because the light will now turn off. So what's this? Well, we need to drink some. And also we need to eat some. So it's still dark deficient, but this problem will eventually cease, for there is no longer plant-related light from the sun or from the grow light coming down. The plants react slowly. Maybe that's an actual simulation of their biology. I mean, after all, they're not computers reacting to a sensor being turned on and off. And once the dark deficient goes away, the illumination stretch, which is currently still increasing, we can see that, but it will stop increasing. And since we currently have no reason for the illumination stress to go up, it will now slowly go down. Here we see it's already 95. And once it's 0, then the plant will no longer be burdened. There might be other reasons for the plant to be burdened, but this burden will go away and so the growth efficiency will go up. And that is how it works. And that seems rather too simplistic, doesn't it? I mean, shouldn't it be a bit more complex than that? But okay, that's what it is right now, and okay, we're fine with that. Maybe I should already also plant some fern. only one, because I want to be careful. The thing is, with plants, let's explain that. The plants behave a bit differently, but these plants behave identical. They behave as follows. This dude, you can see here, is thriving towards fruiting, or growing moderately well towards fruiting, or whatever. And then once it has fruited, you will see it has 1 potato or 2 potatoes. Since it has been suffering stress this whole time, I guess it will only yield 1 fruit instead of 2. Anyway, then you can harvest that fruit, and the cycle will start over. And then the plant will be gone. Then you can plant that fruit, or you can plant a seed, and then you will have a plant again. But if you just wait, because once there is a fruit, it will say the potato is now thriving towards seeding. If you wait, then you will get seeds. And then you can harvest those seeds, and then you can harvest the fruits, and then the plant is gone. So now you have more. But if the potato plant has yielded 2 fruits, then you can just take one of the potatoes away, so there's still 1 potato and also thus the plant. It will keep thriving towards seeding, so nothing will have happened, but you will already be able to eat from it. Yeah, rather simple. And here with the fern, exactly the same. So, we could measure this dude now. What output values does it have? Well, let's see. The power generation, which is then, I guess, the watts that are coming out there. And then, of course, its objective number in the world and its type number. You can actually read that, that's funny. So power generation is what we'd like to read of this one dude. And I would like to read that over here, because that guy is representative of all these guys. And so I want to see here, in regards to what my station batteries are doing, what the wind turbines are doing. Where will we put that display? And my god, does this look awkward? I mean, we should have an actual battery room where all this stuff takes place, and so forth. And this should be in a wall, and this is all so very makeshift. I mean, look at this. So very crude. But it gets the job done, and so, for now, it gets the job. I guess I want to show... Well, let's put up a wall again, but this time be wise about it. No, not this one. This one. Because it's easier constructed. Then the console. Console mio. Now I want to display what's coming in from that wind turbine here in watts. Just for starters, I don't know, I will turn this into something different later. I don't know yet. For example, once I've figured out which value is good and which value is bad, I can show a spectrum color. I can say green, yellow, orange, red, and green means, hey, it's good. Or blue even, oh, it's very high. Blue as in energy, you know, when these things are full, they're completely blue. That would be nice. And it's easy to do. We haven't yet done any branching in there, we just wrote some logic values, but branching works just the same. So instead of saying SGT to create a logic value in a register, you can see BGT, and then you can have your evaluation, and then you say where to branch. So that's jumping, but with a condition. Very simple. LED bat and LED wind. Since we have already defined this LED type, we conveniently only have to define the name now. And look at this, all the things that this source code is already doing. What is it even doing? Well, where is the LED? LED? Oh, here. Oh, right. Oh, crap. Damn it. That's not as convenient as I hoped it would be right now. There's also a random generator. Yep, there is. Mode color setting on. It doesn't matter, but I want to be consistent. Mode 1 or 2 for the kilowatts. Color, let's just go with none. I will not write the color yet. See, I'm commenting this out. And then setting shall be whatever R0 is. Then we want to turn that dude on. But before I go there, let's write a little bit, some comment. That's a lot of stuff, huh? Okay, we're getting some random number here, which is not the kind of number we want to see. Which we want to see is... Yep, this is the wind turbine whose purpose is the speed of the wind, so I call it wind speed. Ha 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 ha. My chair is louder than my voice. Define CL as wind hash structure upright wind turbine. I don't know if this is correct. We can see that later. But I will just try it, and we will then see whether that's successful. For we have already seen that the display itself works. So load batch named into R0 ins wind speed power, or what was that? I don't remember. Power generation. Oh, I can't copy this here? 0 watts, that's too few watts. I guess I picked the wrong name. Structure upright wind turbine. What's the mistake? Oh, right, from CLS wind. No, that's right, that's correct. It only has one output, so what's the mistake? Is it the name? No, it's not the name. Oh, what's going on? It is generating power, that's so much, that's for sure. CLS wind, wind speed. Load batch name, CLS wind, wind speed. Power generation, some. This should work. It doesn't. Why not? I've never done this before. Connections, only one. Can I not read this value? Connection. For upright wind turbine provides power connection. It doesn't provide data connection? Does the upright wind turbine not have power output information? Screenshot taken, I have to ask. Apparently this is not possible. I mean, there's probably a way to engineer around this. I could, for example, make a cable network dedicated for this and then just use the cable analyzer, which, as you remember, has this little nose down here, which is for logic connection, so we can read what's happening, you know? That's a possibility. And apparently that's necessary, and I find that fucking ridiculous, man. Well, let's do that then. But I have taken the screenshot, I will ask the question. Cable. Good thing we have a little bit of that stuff also. What the fuck is happening? How did I just make beacons? Didn't I... What the fuck just happened, man? Anyway, this is the beacon. And I mean, while we're at it, maybe I should eat something, I'm dying here. I didn't toss that down, it just happened. A bug, clearly. So this dude is exactly like, where is it? Like this dude. Except this one runs on a small battery for a long time while we're mining, really long, so that is safe as long as the battery is full when you leave your station. And this dude consumes 300 fucking watts, which is a lot. That's really a lot, man. So should we use it? Well, of course. But why here? Why not in the corner? here is basically not in the way. And then, of course, when the lights turn off in the station, this thing shall turn on instead. Ha 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 ha. So whenever we leave, we will always have the beacon, and it will not consume 300 watts all the time, only while we're out mining. Or doing whatever. So much for that. Now this thing can be turned on. And it's running on which cable network? On the inner one. The logic one, basically. I mean, calling it the logic network, that's bullshit. It's just a cable network, but, you know, that's the prevalent use that we have. And what's with the other kids' beacon? Garbage. They will be recycled. I will never need them. They're garbage. I just wasted those resources. Maybe we should, while we're at it and still have some space, also print the recycler, huh? Need more iron, hilarious. And I would like another sensor, please, because I want to do something I've never done before. It's not sensational, just a nice gimmick. Graph display, we wanted to put that dude up. Yeah, for the wind test, for the wind study. Right, that would have been here. Do we have the console? Yeah, we have one, but it's used up. No, there it is, console. I would like to put that up here also, but it's getting kind of crowded here in the air, isn't it? So that I remember what I want to do. Still cooling. I mean, seriously, if it is ever too cold here on this planet, which has minus 140 degrees, just fire up the furnace for a few seconds. It will heat for months. Though, currently, these walls are perfectly insulated, and apart from the fact that when the sun shines in and something in here is lit by the sun, the atmosphere of that world box will heat up a little. But what will probably come, I've read that from the developers, they haven't made a clear statement, but it sounded like they would be going that direction, is that these things will also eventually have their atmosphere transfer, thermal energy transfer. So yeah, then we will probably have to heat a little more. Let's put the recycler here where the garbage is. Almost. Imagine recycling that, huh? Actually, that makes sense. I can put the recycler here where the garbage is, because if I ever get to recycle stuff, then I already have a recycler, and so this one can go in the toilet. Where is the console? Yeah. Are we having fun yet? Is this the game that you bought? I mean, seriously, if you're still watching this, but you have not yet decided whether you want to buy the game, then you need to think about yourself. But clearly, I want you to buy it. Why? But first of all, my will is, and it's really the definition of myself, believe it or not, that which is right shall happen, and that which is wrong shall not happen. That's what I'm all about. What would be right is that the sensational, years ahead of its time creation would get the recognition, and the team that develops it the money that's deserved. And thus also, the more people play it, the more people know it, the more likely it is that game development will pick up on this existence of this. And so, I mean, if you buy this game, you, the one who is listening, you, hey, you, I'm talking about you right now. If you buy this game, you will probably increase the probability very, 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 very slightly that that you will eventually run into a game, into a different one with atmospherics, but with a shooter maybe or whatever. Yep. Everybody can contribute to the cause. They just have to choose so. Yeah, obviously I'm trying to be funny. I mean, with the sensor. The other thing, I mean that. I mean that. Get the fucking game, man. And while you're at it, get the DLC also. I will allow that you buy it on a discount. So, radius, proximity sensor.
Power critical.
So this guy shall turn on when I'm nearby, and otherwise it shall be off. That's the idea here. Hilarious. Ding 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 ding. Huh. Yeah, power. What's with the plants? Oh, the potato is growing. Thriving even. Also thriving. All is well. The light is on. Well underway. Of course, if you have to figure out all this stuff yourself, then it will take a while. And I hope that you will not remember everything that I told you here. And just take this as a ride and as a stimulant to buy the fucking game, man. Do you get some money for this? No, I don't get money for this. My channel is not monetized, and I have no deal with the developers. No, I do not have a deal with the developers. I don't. I'm just a guy who plays the game and sees with his eyes and with his mind and is trying to help you do the same. That is what this is. Okay then, let's do it like this. Have it your way, asshole! That should work. Potential 22 watts. Okay, now we should be able to read out this dude, and then we can show that value on that dude. And also plot the chart. Now I have to rename that. I've never used the cable analyzer, logic network wise. Structure, cable, analyzer, I would presume. How are we doing? Oh, still some room left. And it's only one chip. How many can we make? Infinite? I mean... Can they communicate with each other? Yeah, they can. Define. CLS... Structure. Cable analyzer. I wonder if it's misspelled like the pipe analyzer, which is structure pipe analyzer. But this is also in there. Analyzer. And to this day they haven't fixed this. I don't get it, man. But this will break all the stations. No, it won't break all the stations. You just keep both in. What's the problem? Structure, cable, analyzer. I don't know if this works. Let's just see. Most importantly, what are the values? Power potential, power actual, power required. Power actual, I believe, is the power that is being drawn. Let's say we have a station battery on the receiving end, and on the sending end, where is the wind turbine with 20 watts. Then the power actual will be 20 watts, because 20 watts will actually be consumed. They will be stored in the station battery. Let's say it would be a lamp that needs 10 watts. Then the power actual would be 10 watts. The power potential would be 20 watts. The power required would be 10 watts. And so forth. We need the power potential, as we have also just seen there. So let's see if that works. Still not. What's my mistake? Maybe I should write an... No, I have already written a random value to this thing. It worked. Why is nothing happening, man? Potential, 157 watts. Am I stupid? What's happening here? Why doesn't this work? Why does it read as 0 this whole time? Well, let's read actual then, for whatever reason. See what that does. Nothing. It doesn't work. Why the fuck doesn't it work? I see the number here. Is there anything else that I could reasonably read out of this thing? For example, the reference ID. Just so that we get some number that is non-zero, and then we know. And then we will know if we're addressing that thing at all. No, we're not. Okay, that's the problem. Data connection for cable analyzer. Yeah, I haven't yet checked. I'm stupid or what? Structure cable and oh my god, they have made the same mistake here. You fucking shitting me. God damn it, man. I have to hold myself back at this moment. How stupid is that? Oh, fuck me sideways in a railroad tunnel from behind. 2 guys and a rubber dick. Export. So we should now get the reference ID. Yep. The reference ID is a constant, very high number, so that's why we're getting kilowatts. So we're getting the dude now. And here we go, 143, 144 watts, that's the watts we're getting. We can write that to the console now. Actually, no, we can't. The console is a device that reads. You cannot write it. You can see here, see the consoles, they have this weird concept where you have to configure them this way. And the consoles will change later, maybe that aspect 2 will change, I'm not sure. Anyway, I will click here and now we'll select which device we want. And maybe we can read the setting of one of the LEDs thingies, because why not? LED win. Yeah, of course. Yeah, perfect. The value that we're writing there is not the value that you're reading there. Hello. So we can see what the wind development is. Obviously the wind is going down, which will probably change at some point. I hope this won't reveal some ugly things about the game simulation, like every 10 seconds it goes faster or slower, depending on a random decision. Hopefully not. But doesn't seem to be the way. This is the curve. Good. Well done, mister. yeah, let's just leave this up here for a while until we have seen it a few times and get a feeling of what high and low means, and then we work on this too, regarding colors or whatever. Oh, what's that? The wind's picking up again. See, here you see one of the flaws that this thing has. You cannot define the max value. The min value will always be 0, except if you also have negative values, then it will expand to the negative area. And the maximum will always be the highest value of the history. So you cannot define that. What I could do, though, is I could do something wicked, which I hereby want to experiment with, which I have thought of many times but never done in actuality, and I know when to fucking do it. And so I will reserve a register for this. This is not actually reserving the register, I'm just giving the register a name. And I'm using R15, which is least likely to be used by me in other circumstances where I just have some temporary register here. This is just like these. There's no difference. You know, it's just an organizational measure. So I'm giving this a name, and the name shall be graph spiker. This is the graph spiker. And the graph spiker shall be initialized with value 0 at the beginning. And then we will add to the graph spiker I would to make this clean, I would have to do it differently, but let's just, you know, this is an experiment. So we add to the graph spiker the sum of graph spiker and 1. If the graph spiker value is less than, let's say 30, which will be 15 seconds normally, half the graph, hello, then I want to jump relatively by 3 or so lines. See, that's what you can also do. This is branching to an absolute label like start or line 3 or whatever, but you should use labels. But you can also branch relatively. You can branch backwards or forwards. This will never be used. Why? Because this means if it is false, then it will just continue here. But if it is true, then it will just continue here. If it is true, this case, it will just say 1, 2. This is where it continues. This is where the cursor is right now. There's nothing in this line. That's not a problem. The thinking will continue in this line, whether empty or not. So anyway, graph spiker. But if the graph spiker is 30 or higher, then I want to reset it to 0. Move is just writing a value to a register. Should it be copy, but whatever. But this is not like Rocketworks did something quirky. This is how it is in actual assembly languages. In the 80s, I was learning assembly for a Commodore Amiga. Actually did some nice program. I wrote a sound tracker that I could control with an external hardware MIDI device, so we could wire that into our music equipment and use it as a drum machine. I mean, the drum machine was Cubase, but the Amiga was playing the sound samples. And I did some sound sampling programming in there in the same program, including some real-time effects. So it could sample what comes in and then play that back and simultaneously make an echo and such. Not bad, I would say. I also liked to write boot blocks. You know, when you stick a disk in an Amiga, it does or doesn't have a boot block. And when the computer is currently like reset and it's waiting for a disk, and you put a disk in that has a boot block, then it will boot. And the boot blocks only have a size of 1 kilobyte. That's hex 400 or 1024 decimal bytes. And then I, for example, made a boot block that would play music and would then continue loading the disk and would play the music while the disk is booting. And the normal DOS loader, you know. Also did a few loaders for some people. Anyway, add some graph spiker. We add 1, and as long as it's less than 30, we don't do anything special. But once it is 30, we skip a few lines and we make sure that the R0 value is like 300. So we get the graph should now be like charged, so to speak, by spikes of the value 300 every once in a while. And so we should have some kind of constant 0 to 300 range that will always stay the same, so we can study the graph more easily, maybe. Is a hypothesis I have. Ah, there was the spike. this will also show then here, which is stupid. I could also select here a different data source, for example a memory chip, and then here I could write the proper value, and to the memory chip I also write the proper value, except sometimes I write the spike, which we see here. And the spike is clearly too often. Let's write it more rarely. Let's say 55. Oh, damn. Let's just cancel the edit session. There are some stupid bugs here with the editor, and I hope that they fucking fix those finally. I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that we can see. Now I delete, I go in the middle. 5, 6. Yeah. So I go here in the middle, and I delete with the not with left backspace, but with the del key. This works. But now it removed the character, but it also moved the previous line, the next line to this line. What kind of bullshit is that, man? And if I go to the last character, then the same happens. So that is just a stupid bug, man, and this is something that gets in the way every fucking day, and why don't they fucking focus on that shit first? God damn it. So we go to 55. That's a pretty genius solution, isn't it? And another thing I did that was actually on the moon base, that was in the beginning of this, was it? No, it actually didn't show that. You know what? Yeah, I want to show you my first moon base, which is a bit crappy. I mean, look at this battery stack, hilarious. For a moment. Here we can see the graph display in action. It's the 23 degrees enforcer. In the station here, there's a sensor that checks how warm it is, and once it reaches 23 degrees, it will trigger a pretty ridiculous cooling system. Here, there's an active vent that pumps the station gas through this pipe. This doesn't matter, this is closed. Through this pipe, these are pipe radiators which make sure that the pipe's convection and radiation strength will be amplified, or rather the radiation strength. These come in 2 flavors, convection and radiation is a kit. I placed the radiation ones here, of course, since there's no atmosphere with which you can convect. And so they will radiate the pipe's heat away, or they would add heat to the pipes if there was any radiation heat out here anyway. So, here you can see when it gets too warm, then the active vent will kick in for a moment and pump that, and then will stop. It will stop rather immediately. So how cold is it in there? I don't know. Let's see. The temperature here is 22.9 degrees. So how do I get this display here? Well, what I'm showing here from top to bottom is a range of about 1/4 degrees Celsius. I used some mathematical bending out of shape of the Celsius degree I was getting, and was just writing that then into this dude, you know. And so this is like 1/10 or 1/5 of a degree Celsius that we get here. That's the difference. Cool, huh? So back to business. You can see that the console wasn't saved. Its history will now be rebuilt basically from the real-time events that are taking place. Now you just saw the spiker again, which for whatever reason didn't show up on the display. I mean, you saw 300, right? I saw that. I saw 300 here, but I didn't see the spike here. Maybe the rhythm is too fast. I don't know what that is. What's going on? So we should have the 300 again very soon. There it is. Aha, this is the spike. I don't know why it wasn't red. Let's just leave it at this. And so now we have some kind of objective chart from 0 to 300, and we can gauge where the wind is. I just picked 300 arbitrarily. Maybe it should be a different value. Man, have we achieved a lot, huh? This was just loading in some chunks at the beginning of the game. So, is it happening? Is it happening? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Works very nice. Man. I like my life. So, what's with the potatoes? We have actually 2 potatoes, even though the plant wasn't exactly fine. And you see here, thriving towards seeding. But let's be a bit impatient. And harvest one. There's a potato. Mark Watney, anyone? Oh no, it's not the Mars. It's not Mars, alright. Yeah, and 1 potato is still there and thriving towards seeding, just like I described. So I can eat this thing now. It's not actually being eaten because this cannot be eaten in part. I can eat it only as a whole or not. And this is very low quality food. If I keep eating this, the stars here down at my vitals will go down to 1. And this means that the max food that I can get here, the percentage that I can eat is only, I think, 75 or something. 2 stars mean like 100, 3 stars mean 125, and 4 stars, when I eat pumpkin pie or whatever, this will mean 150, I think. And the same applies to the water. I mean, the 5 stars define both of these max values. And so if they are higher, then I don't have to bother to drink so often. You might think, oh, this is not so often anyway. Yeah, this is easy mode. In normal mode it's more often, and in stationeer mode it's motherfucking often, man. That's why I have created myself a few modded difficulties. But that was before this. I don't use them anymore because I want to live with this, you know, with the reality of this. Haven't done so. By the way, here we see my health. It's at 100%, but the fact that it is shown here means that I am damaged. Is this a rounding error? No, it's not a rounding error. See, if I'm completely healthy, then this will not be here. But if my lungs are damaged, which they are, then this will be here. What if the lung damage is not this bad? What if it's only yellow? Then this will be here. What if the lung damage is not even yellow, but it's there? Then this will be here. So that is how you can determine that you have some lung damage. It's a bit dumb this way, but alright. I mean, look at the fucking shit that they put into this game and how much fun we can have with this already. It is, it's crazy. So, now talking about crazy, let's put up some, what's the word? Yeah, I want to bake some noodles. Where is no noodles. I want to make some food. Where do I put that? Here I would possibly place some more station batteries. Maybe here in the room. This might be a bit cramped. Well, then it doesn't really matter where I place it, or does it? Here maybe? Is there some rooms here still? If I place the table here, is this viable? Table. I like this one. Of course not. Hey! Yeah, this works, but this doesn't work for me, man. Like this then? Well, that works. I can walk everywhere. It looks idiotic and gets the job done. Well, that's typical me, so let's do that then. So, microwave. What? Yeah, many devices have multiple click points. For example, this guy I can actually turn on. Like the normal mining drill, I can turn it on here. I can even take out the battery. In this way, the microwave has 3 points of interest. This, 4 even. Open, close, turn on, turn off, pick up, and in here we can click to empty if there's some crap in there. Yeah, the front. I have to wire up the front. So, in you go. Close, turn on, enjoy. And this one you can eat in parts, which is recommended. Let's assume this is at 0, and I tap the right mouse button very shortly. Then I would just have eaten a wee bit of it, and this will be enough to stop. Well, then it's no longer at 0, so it will no longer damage my health. So the health will slowly count up. So when you're in trouble, you should hit this thing shortly. The same for your water that you drink, and then you should do this, because only when you let go, only when I let go, then the progress bar, as it has filled so far, will be swallowed, you could say. And this will eventually decay. I can put up the fridge, maybe. Should I? Fridge. The small one is very convenient for us here. Electronics printer. It is hilarious that the electronics printer makes this thing, because it has the least moving parts of for all the devices in the game, you could say. It just runs directly on planetary atmosphere, or whatever you want. I mean, it's still emergent. It's still the same old Stationeers. This would be kind of in the way. I don't want this. Can I place this in the air, basically? Yeah, I can. So can I place this on this dude? No, I can't. I can only... Oh, that's stupid, man. I mean, I get why this has to be this way, but I hate the way it is, regardless. I'm... simple like that. So, if I put this vent into a different place, because it's really not in the way, and I put the fridge here so that it's connected directly with the outside atmosphere, though sometimes it will be connected with the hot atmosphere, well, hot? Minus 120 degrees. That's a problem for the potatoes. Yeah, let's be efficient. Man, things are getting chaotic again in here, aren't they? Yeah, important. Copy the name. I mean, you can of course get it from a different place, but the thing is, this device needs that name again, as it will not kick in when it's needed. And right now, also to be remembered, our station cooling is offline. Where might my wrench be? See, it's now pumping and pumping and pumping because it's too hot. And it can't do anything with all the pumping because there's no response. You can see here, this one has lots of moles, the other one has nothing, and so therefore no heat exchange. That's kind of a problem. Oh, that's quite a problem. I think this was just because I removed that. Yeah, station temperature 25 degrees. I'm kind of losing track where which cable is. Yeah, too bad we can't toss stuff directly in the 3D world. That is definitely something that I hope that will fucking change, because that would be so helpful if that were possible. And cool. See, since we're addressing this by name, it just works. Let's move this back next to the light. Where did this come from? Oh, right here, right. I'm not done yet. The fridge goes here. See, that's all. It's just a box with 2 slots in there. And if I take the potato now, which will decay completely in 9 hours. Why 9 hours? Wasn't it 8 hours before? Well, maybe it's because the station is now slightly cooler than it was before.
Power low.
And in here, 14 hours. I have no clue why this is actually colder now. I don't understand. Why is the fridge working without an atmosphere? Normally you have to connect here some cold atmosphere. But I haven't done that. Nothing's connected yet. Why is this working? This is stupid, man. Screenshot time. Possibly a bug. But let's pipe it up. Let's take some insulated pipe, if I have that. I do. And see if the number changes. Because then it's not a bug, then it's just a whatever the fuck that is. 14 hours. 13 hours. What? What? What the fuck? Let's try again, please. $13 again. I don't know what to think, say, or otherwise do about this. Anyway, the idea is that you connect that to cold atmosphere, as written here. Essentially a heavily insulated box that allows users to pipe in any desired atmosphere. None of that. Oh, it's a food decay section. I didn't even know that. Interesting. Different atmospheres can slow and accelerate the decay process. Pressure. Food decays faster when the pressure drops below 1 atmosphere, 100 kilopascal. And out there we have only 40 or so. Food type, temperature. The optimum temperature is 0 Kelvin. Really? Anyway, now we have a fridge and screenshots also. Yeah. So the mouse is pretty jerky, I know. I have brought up the topic of an inert mouse, like Minecraft has it, which you can press activate with F7 or F6, I don't know. At least they're all Java Minecraft. I don't know how Microsoft's current Minecraft is doing. A few times I talked with the CEO, and Dean said, yeah, we actually have something like that in there already. It's just not, I don't know, activated or... But something like it is in there already. And no one can use it, so that's the point. Everybody who makes a YouTube video is effectively helping with the spreading of the word about this game, and so it would be nice if I could give you a smoother experience of this. You know, if the camera would be inert. In my account there are also some old Minecraft videos I made, very old, but there I used the inert camera, and there you can see what that would be like. See, if the camera is inert, then you would get used to that, so every motion would have some soft inertia in it, and so you could anticipate the moment the screen moves somewhat, what will be happening. And so instead of the motion going somewhere and then your mind having to adapt, you could go with the motion, you could even lead the motion in your mind, and then it would end there, kind of. So this would then be your will happening instead of me always forcing my will upon you. So this would be quite a different experience. So I hope they implement that soon. Because, man, this game needs money. I want to help, man. Please help me help you. So now we have here the proximity sensor. And which value does it have? It has the value 1. So that's the value I also want to set then. Enforce basically sense prox stack. Sense prox stacker. And not this easy, because there are two stackers that are identical, but one is mirrored. I don't know which one this is. Can I find out? I don't know. Maybe the configuration cartridge can help me there. I can see the prefab hash, which ends with 623. 623, that's this one, the reverse one. And the other one is not 623. Okay, so it's the reverse one then. Sense procs. Load batch named. No, first write batch named to the proxy thingy setting 1. Right. And then we want to load the activate value. I think. And then based on that, we want to set the power of the stacker. So let's turn that. No, we can just write directly SBN. Logic type on R0, but I want to change the name here. And the mouse wheel. I'm scrolling like a maniac here, but the screen is not moving much. And in every part of Stationeers where you have a scroll bar and you can use a scroll wheel like this, it moves that slowly. And I can only say, dude, would you please get your priorities in order and work on the fundamental shit before expanding in all direction? Thank you. Hello. Maybe it's a bit too... yeah, it's the distance to the sensor, you know. Maybe I should use setting 2. Okay, I would use a mouse pointer. Alright, whatever. Yep, works. Okay, it's gimmicky, whatever. So, the wind is going down. What we could also do here with the console is we could create a longer history. Because we could make sure that the value written... can we though? No, we can't, because the console always moves at the same pace, this guy. So if I would just slow down the influx of data, this would then just repeatedly show the same value. It would not slow down its display. I mean, case in point, I will just write a certain constant value now to see if that helps. Yep, it doesn't bat an eye, so that doesn't help. We cannot slow down the display, so we cannot stretch the 30 seconds magically into something longer. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. I mean, the only thing we could do is we could record more than 30 seconds and then play back this in a compressed form in a 30-second, yeah, kind of fake playback, and then we would see the compressed history. But that's ridiculous, man. So jump over 3 lines, over this one, and over... Wait, we jump to 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is where we jump. I mean, we know that it's watts, right? How about we utilize that a bit more wisely? I mean, do I need the decimal place, really? I think I don't. This is too jumpy. I don't like the jumpiness of that dude. Let's change the jumpiness, shall we? So, this of course means that I am now influencing the graph, but I just won't give a fuck. So let's go here and change the value. We multiply. Do we? No, we just round that. Round R0 into R0. I mean this round into R0, R0. And then I will go and change the mode, not to watts, but just to a stupid decimal number. No, not edit, export. So this is the amount of watts that this thing is outputting. Let's compare if that actually so. Here we have, come on. Really? 99, 98. Yep, that's what's happening. So where's my 300 here? The spike not hit or something? Well, sometimes it doesn't seem to kick. So I guess I have to reduce the frequency that I had there to 28 seconds or something. This will give us more spikes, but it will make the thing more reliable, so that kind of makes sense. Zero watts. More spikes. So we have just created our first potato. And now we have we can harvest potato seeds. I will take those potato seeds and walk over here to my locker where I have the 2 potato seeds, and now it's 3 again, as if nothing happened. The plant out of nowhere. And then we get 1 potato, which I harvest and replant. And here, what's that? This will create 2 fern, but I will wait for the seed. And what do I do with fern? Well, a manufacturing room would be nice, right? You enter the room, they all turn on. You leave the room, they only turn off if they're not currently producing. Possible? It's Stationeers. Yeah, let's do this. I will double click here. Oh. And then I will see, is there... Then I will double click again. Only double click's a bit cumbersome. Was there something in the settings? Inventory select, I believe that's that.
Welcome to Exosphere, the dark side of Synthera.
So if I'm here, if I use the mouse wheel, then I arrive there and I press C in my case. I don't know what it's for you. And so I can toggle the thing back and forth easily, but how do I get to this place? I've actually watched a video recently of another Stationeer, a rather young video, so, and but still the guy was, I mean, back then the interface was like this. You didn't have the mouse cursor. I'm only using the mouse cursor. He was still doing it like this. And I myself am also probably doing it in a dumb way. I'm trying to expand my knowledge here just now. So let's say I just press Alt and then C. But this doesn't fly. I cannot just press C while I'm holding Alt over this. so it doesn't help me. I mean, this moving the mouse would select that, then I press C, it would end up here, but no, it doesn't work. I have to double click. This annoys me. So anyway, fern. We we don't need to, but we should make the pill, which we already have, but if we need it, then and we don't have it, that's bad, so better make one. For that we have to click on this platform, one time with silver, from an ingot or from what we found in the world, the ore, and one time with cobalt. And we have to click with 10 ferns in our hands. In earlier days you had to process that first into phenoxytone with the chemistry processor or something, but that's no longer necessary. So that's why it's still saying phenoxytone instead of fern or whatever. Silver, phenoxytone, cobalt. We can prepare that already. Since we have cobalt. And we also have silver. Well, dude, the interface system, the inventory system, that could really be a bit more convenient. Steel, okay, that was wrong. So let's use an empty hand and click here and toss it all away. That was annihilation. That no longer exists, period. End of story. I used the wrong stuff. So if you have one silver and one cobalt, and now I have to click with 10 ferns and turn the thing on, then we have a pill. Yeah, too bad we can't display any texts. There's no way, for example, to go and say, okay, I want to display dot, 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 dot for a high value and only dot, dot, dot for a low value, so you can create your own progress bars or something. That doesn't exist. That's not in there. Nope. I want to determine based upon the value here which color I want to show. So let's write the color. Which color shall that be? Well, I will just reserve a register for that. I'll just plan a register for that. And I will say that the default color that this register shall hold shall be color.blue. So does this register now hold a color? No. Color.blue is just a number, like 7. And this value here reacts to numbers. And if it's 7, that will mean blue. I don't know if it's actually 7. Now let's see. If the if R0, if we branch relative, if greater than, if R0 is greater than, let's say 100, then I jump by 2. If it is not greater than 100, then, well, then what? Will it become yellow, red, orange? What am I doing? This is wrong. I should do it the other way around, I guess. So I should, damn it. Okay, that's stupid. You can cancel an edit of one line with escape, but you will also end the editor session with that and lose all editing without any confirmation. That is completely retarded and I hate it. R1. So we assume not blue, but we assume red. Move R1 shall be color.red. And if the value is less than it's a bit dirty how I'm about to do it here. Branch relative is less than 50, then aha, yeah, right, okay. If less than 100, then skip the next line, else just make it blue. If it's less than 100, then we'll just go here and it will stay red. And this is actually proper code. It doesn't have redundancies. I mean, it could be done even better, I guess, but okay. And let's say if it is 70, less than 70, then we jump further, so it would stay red. But if not, if it is 70 or more, then I would say green. And if it's 50, then we say yellow. And if it's 30, then we say orange. And otherwise, as in if it's less than 30, then we'll just jump down here, meaning we will just stay with the value we originally had, which is red. We move into R1, move R1, 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 R1. We compare with R0, 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 R0. Seems proper, let's see. Aha, it's below 30 now, we just saw that from changing from orange to something lower. So we basically have no wind right now, almost. I mean, the numbers that I chose are kind of arbitrary. Hey, have you just seen the 300? It was orange. That's wrong, man. Why was it orange? It should have been blue. There's a programming error here. Let's see what the logic is. So, down here we are writing the color R1 and the setting R0. R0 is not changed below this, so we are working with the final R0 value, which will, for example, then be 300. So then we assume as the default color for the LED red. And then we're saying if R0 is less than 100, then we skip this else, it will be blue. So it should have been blue and not orange. I don't know what that was. Branch less than R0. Is this possibly not watts but tens of watts or something? No, that can't be, because we saw when it went below 30 that it changed from orange to red. So why the fuck was it not blue? This doesn't make sense, man. Why is 300 shown as orange? Well, there is orange in there. That's for sure. Why though? I want to find out if it is this... Oh, we don't have that. Okay. I want to find out if it was this orange statement that caused that, so I replace it with something else. When it goes through 300 again, what color will we see? Come on. It was indeed that statement. Oh. Okay. Could the wind pick up, please? Above 50 would be fine. Because 50, I believe, was a threshold. Wind, you're an asshole. Do you know that? Apparently it knows. Why isn't this working? Again, so we're assuming for R1 a color of red. Branch relative less than. If the power is less than 100, we skip. Else, if it is not, okay, let's say it differently. If it is not less than 100, then the color will be written to blue. If it is not less than 70, oh, of course. If it is less than 70, we will skip. Wait. Less than 100, we skip. Less than 70, we skip. Less than 50, we skip. Less than 30, we skip, so it stays red. It's not less than 30, then it will be orange. But if it's even higher... Oh, of course, Oh, damn, this of course, this will always leave the last statement. It will always either be red or orange this way. Stupid. I mean, that was kind of an error that I was expecting from the start, but I thought I had actually circumvented that. Also, it is ugly because if I invert the order now, which would solve the problem, then this would mean that there would be a value written, and then another, and that's just dirty. Maybe we can use the select value. Let's see. Select into register R1, which is the color register. Okay, we would have to first create a logic statement. That makes it more cumbersome. No. Move red. So, and then we say turn this thing blue, but if, and so forth. Oh, I guess we have to just invert the order. Now we have to take care, man. It's getting full in here. So we assume color red. Then we say if the power from the wind turbine is less than 30, we just skip over the next line. If it's less than 50, we skip over the next line. If it's less than 70, we it's not. Color green. And we set it to green. And that is still wrong. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, let's say this is wrong, man. It was right before. What am I doing? I don't understand what this is. Again, so we're moving this a bit awkward. I should have done that maybe before the video. Whatever. So move register R1 red. If the power is less than 100, then just move on. Is it less than 70, just move on. If it's less than 50, it's not. Okay, yellow. Is it less than... If it's less than 50... No, this is actually right. This is correct. If the color is less than 100, then we go here, else it will be blue. I realize I have some kind of knot in my thinking that I can't dissolve right now. Whenever I try to speech this into a logical fact that I will be confronted with and then see what my mistake is, it turns into either this or its opposite, and so I can't get anywhere. So I have to let this rest for now. This doesn't work. Yeah, and also maybe we're kind of at the end of the video. I will do the seeding here of the fern, and then I think we'll stop. We have done quite some programming. Maybe I should go through the source code while we wait for the fern. So up here we define all the numbers. Then I reserve a register, which doesn't reserve it, it just gives it a name. I can still use R15 down here, doesn't matter, but I shouldn't. This is just for order. And what does the graph spiker do? It's just a counter. Every main loop iteration, which is like half a second, half a second, half a second, half a second, this will be increased by 1. Where is it? Down here. I add into this as a target the sum of that plus 1. And so it becomes 1, 2, 3, and if it's less than 28, I will just go 1, 2, 3, I will just go here. But if it is 28, or if it is greater than 28, then I will just set it to 0, and I will also set the value that we have read from the wind turbine to 300 to create this spike. Then I fail the color programming, then I set the mode to decimal, we write the actual value to the display, and we also turn it on. And this is the stacker thing, it's, yeah. back up here. We are reading whether there's something in the arc furnace. I think. I mean, I haven't tested that because you know what? I will just mine 1 or 2 things right now, quickly, so that we get that out of the way.
Low pressure.
Oh,
Pressure critical.
maybe we should close the helmet.
Temperature critical. Temperature low.
Hey, fast mining drill. Look at that. Too bad I don't need coal. I need something that I can smelt. Lawnmower, man. It's just lawn mowing. Hey, have I actually turned on the No, I haven't. I haven't yet implemented the proper... What is this? The beacon, you know? Aha, here we have something that can be smelted. Nice. A few of these, please. So I can test/demonstrate the situation. And fuck me sideways, there was only 1. But this one was 10, actually. Okay. Yeah, the beacon should turn on while we're not in the station. Before I do anything else, lest I forget again, let's do that. Or is this actually happening already? No, it is not, because then it would already have happened. So let's change this. Where is the thing with the door? So here I do the arc furnace, which may be working, we will see that soon. Here I'm saying to all ice crushers on the network that their target setting shall be 0 Kelvin, like the coldest possible thing. Since they can only heat, they will not cool down something, but they will just skip the heating cycle. Here I'm turning all the station batteries on. Here I'm loading all station batteries at the average. I'm loading the ratio of them, and it's a batch load command, and this time I actually need it, and I average them out. And then I turn this diode slide thing, the progress bar-ish thing, I turn it on, and I write this value that I found to it. I multiply that with 100, and then I write to an LED thingy via the type and name that the mode shall be 0. You know, mode 0 is the number, mode 1 is percentage, and mode 2 is watts, kilowatts, whatever. But it's ultimately just a number. I mean, the display doesn't care what you're actually pumping in there. Then I set the color to white, I set the value itself and turn it on. Cooling. I'm loading, I mean, that's the coolest thing, isn't it? I'm loading from the gas sensor in my station the temperature, and then I'm subtracting from this value that goes from 0 to whatever thousand, 273.15, so that it can become minus 273.15 in the first place, as it can't. So this sounds like this would turn it to Celsius. It does. And then I'm saying if R0, which is my Celsius, if that is greater than 25, then this shall result in the logic statement 1, which we have in here. And then I just say to both the vents that pump through the counterflow heat exchanger, the mode shall be 1, as in suck into the pipe, and they shall be on depending on whatever the logic statement is here. And that's the cooling system. Here we have the lights, and now I need to invert the value that I have here, because... Wait, what am I doing? This is the pressure thing. Oh! This is still in there? Hilarious. Now I know what these two blocks were together, because I demonstrated that in between them. Anyway, now I want to invert this. Here I'm saying, is the inner door open? This is then 1. And then the lights shall be on. Now I could just instead read the outer door, and see if that is open. But I could also do something else. I could flip the bit, and that's more interesting, because you know what this does, but you don't know how to flip a bit, or rather to flip a value. So I will just do this. See, this is a logic statement. If the door is open, this will be 1. And here I'm saying, is R0, is this value here, is this not equal to 0, actually the other way around, if R0 is equal to 0, then R0 shall be 1. If R0 is not equal to 0, then R0 shall be 0. So this flips the bit. And instead of writing the 0 on the right, we can also do this, because there's always a variant. So instead of just these EQ and GT and LT, greater than, less than, greater than or equal and so forth, variations of the writing command and the branching command and so forth, we also in addition have the 0 variant. So this makes this very long list a lot less intimidating, I would say. Haha, 800. Yeah, now we know which value we should set as a default resetter kind of thing. Though that makes our chart a lot less useful, because it will just bumble around at the bottom and not really do anything interesting. But I will do this regardless and see what happens. Maybe it stays useful. Is it still purple? Yep. Anyway, up here, are we inverting the bit or are we not inverting the bit? Where is it? Where is it? Right, I cancelled that. Stupid me. What the fuck? So, write if equal 0, R0, R0. So if R0 is equal to 0, then this is true, this statement. So this target value will become 1, which happens to be the same value. So 0 becomes 1, and 1 becomes 0. And now I just write to all the structure beacon that they shall be on, respectively. Export. These are the spikes. They will now no longer be visible, for the new spikes are actually exactly 800. So, is this thing on? Yes, it is on. Can I turn it off? No, I can't. Can I turn it off like this? Probably. Yep. So now we have this thing. All we need is the tracker, and we can't get lost anymore, because there will always be something. Now let's see if the arc furnace does what it's supposed to. Split one, toss it in, see what happens. Yes, it's working. Okay. Let's make a bit bigger stacks. And see if that keeps working. Yep. Works. Brilliant. Beautiful. Programming, logic chips, logic control, station automation, automatic cooling, automatic plant light. Atmospheric mixing, CO2 ratio. Oh, we have the wrong card in here. 25% CO2, which will decrease due to the plants. Or, it depends. Maybe I should breathe a little. Maybe, let's see who's faster. Can I breathe the plants to death? Or whatever. Oh, now we have the fern seed situation. So let's do that then. I will replenish my fern seeds. 2, now it's 3. And I will harvest the seed, the fern. And now I will plant 2 ferns. Because you know what would happen. If I click here, there will be another entry, fern 1 grams. Uninteresting. I want to keep going here. Is the water still 12 liters? Yep, still 12 liters. So we see how full the station batteries are, 75%. What you can also do, this progress bar thing, you can place 1, 2, 3, several of them here and use your programming prowess to make them one collective progress bar. That also works. Of course. Yep. Okay. I think that's enough. How much power are we getting? 6,000 watts. Stupidly, there's still a bug in the game. If I save now and then load, the storm will be gone. I wonder when they will fix that one. It's old as fuck. I mean, Abraham's beard, man. That's how old it is. Is this charging up? Yes, it is charging up very slow. You can see it if you look closely. It's moving past the dot. And that is not me being very precise with my hand. You have seen that I changed the field of view the whole time. There are 3 keys that you can see in the settings with which you can increase that, decrease that, and even reset that to the default value. And what default means, you can define yourself in the settings with the slider. Alrighty, I don't know what the next steps would be here, but if you have seen this entire long-ass motherfucking video, then I think you will have seen... the storm is over, so nothing was wasted. Then you will have seen, my god, you can do all this in this game, and it is so easy, I mean, once you know your way around, and then it becomes so convenient. Ridiculous, I want to play that. I want to learn programming, I want to whatever. Do it. Buy the fucking game, contribute to the phenomenon that Stationeers is, or I will see to that I find a person who has a set of very special skills and so on and so forth. You know the drill. Good night.